Are we doing the right thing? It's very important, honestly. Are we doing them the right way is an architecture question. Are we getting them done well? Is delivery. How are we delivering our products, our payment product? Because that's the only way we can do what? We can get value.
We should celebrate ourselves because having 74 financial inclusion is not small. But is that the areas that we need to do better? I think that's what this forum comes from.
Agents are not being given due recognition. Out of 774 local governments in Nigeria, more than 50% of that don't even have presence of banks, and yet every nooks and cranny you have agents.
No doubt, no argument. Agent has been the trusted ally of all platforms before customer even accepted it.
So the story of finance in Africa is not just about innovation. It is about solving real everyday problems.
On the one hand, people are, moving into stable coins for the obvious reasons. On the other hand, I think the best way to look at it is how can we productivize and institutionalize stable coins, right? Stable coins are not the enemy of the naira.
So in the next 60 seconds, can you help me welcome someone close to you very quickly? Just say hi, welcome. Say, I love your tie, I love your shoes. Can I have them? How you doing? Can you give me your ATM pin? I can give me your account number. You know, I just feel like doing something this morning to just dash somebody something. All right, so to give us a formal welcome this morning, Mr. Peter Oluka, editor, Tech Economy and co-convener, Payments Forum Nigeria, will be taking the charge this morning with the welcome address. Can we please be very generous with our applause as he comes?
Good morning, very good, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I want to appreciate you for being here this morning for this all-important discussion we're having. And I know that we're not going to waste your time. It's a Friday, and I know that we deserve to go home and have some rest, being that you have worked throughout the week and deserve to have some rest. So I'm not going to take your time, and your coming here this morning is not a waste of your time. So I'll start by appreciating our keynote speakers, Professor Adeola Peter Obadare, the Chief Visionary Officer, Digital and Code, and also Dr. Jamila Sharif Ayedu, the Vice President, FinTech Association of Nigeria, and CEO of Credit Registry. I want to thank you. Also our special guest, Madam Uche Uze, the MDC of SANEF, and also Mr. Chike. I want to appreciate my co-partner here, Mr. Chike Onwuchi, and also Chairman of NITRA. I want to also appreciate Samuchit Abayomi Abola, the National President of FINAM, National Association, Financial Institutional Agents, Multipurpose Cooperative Society, and who are here this morning. Also appreciate the President of AFIAN, Mr. Sarafidin Atanda FSI, and also Dr. Ubia Oti, the President of AMBAN, and also the Chairman of AMBAN, Lagos State, Mr. Biroba. Thank you so much for coming around this morning, despite the challenges of the way. Thank you so much. I'm happy to have you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen of the press, and also I want to appreciate Senator, I want to appreciate President, I want to appreciate everyone who is here this morning for coming to stay with us. And I just, the few words I have to say is that we're gathered here today at a critical moment in Nigeria's digital and financial inclusion, under a theme that is not only timely but urgent: fair digital payments as a catalyst for deepening financial inclusion in Nigeria. This theme challenges us, it provokes us, and it's more importantly, it demands that we move beyond conversations to concrete actions. Setting the context, you understand that Nigeria has made undeniable progress in digital payments, from the rise of fintech innovations to the expansion of agency banking networks and the growing adoption of mobile money. But we are witnessing a transformation in how people transact, save, and build economic resilience. Yet, beneath this progress lies a fundamental question. Are our digital payment systems truly fair? And that's the question we'll be answering this morning. Fairness in digital payment is not just about access. It's about equity, trust, affordability, security, and usability. It is also about ensuring that the woman in a rural market, the small business owner in Aba, the gig worker in Lagos, and the youth in Kano all experience the same level of dignity, reliability, and opportunity within our financial ecosystem. So if digital payments are to truly deepen financial inclusion, then they must work for everyone, not just for the urban, the connected, or financially literate. So Payments Forum Nigeria 3.0 is not just about industry events, it's a conversation or convergence of critical stakeholders, from regulators to fintech leaders, from agent networks to infrastructure providers to innovators to enablers. Today's conversation will explore how we bridge the inclusion gap in underserved communities, the role of cybersecurity, how credit infrastructure can unlock access and opportunity, strengthening payment rails for SMEs and merchants, and also the rise of embedded finance, taking payments to where people live and work. So each of these conversations is not just theoretical, they are deeply practical and consequential for Nigeria's economic future. So at this point, I want to appreciate everyone who has made it possible for us to stand here today. PalmPay, Team Apps, I want to also appreciate Digital Encode, Credit Registry, SANEF, and all who have joined hands to see that we do this today, especially the media community also, who are here to give us a backup. You are co-workers of this vision. You believe, and we do it, that a more inclusive and fair payment ecosystem is possible. So to our institutional collaborators, industry associations, and ecosystem enablers, you continue to play a critical role in bridging this gap. So to the entire team at Pafon, I want to say your dedication, resilience, and attention to details have made today possible. Events like this do not happen by chance. They are results of intentional hard work and shared belief. So as we engage today, I urge us to approach these conversations with honesty, boldness, and a willingness to challenge the status quo. Thank you. You're welcome to this conversation.
Thank you very much. Let's appreciate the organizers of Pafon one more time. It's a thoughtful one. It's one thing for them to conceive the idea. Another is to have very interesting and cool partners that want to join hands with them to ensure that these conversations come to the limelight and then we move from where we are today to where we want to see the country. We also have in our midst the Chairman Lagos Chapter Association of Mobile Money and Bank Agents in Nigeria, AMBAN, Mr. Ibiruba Oluwagoma. A round of applause for him, please, sir. So while you're standing, we'll just pray for indulgence to come to the podium as it's your turn to give the goodwill messages. We'll take a few goodwill messages and we delve straight to the keynote presentations. And of course, we promise to finish in quick time as it is the Pafon tradition. Can we give a round of applause to
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. And I would like to apologize for being a little bit behind time. Was involved in an accident on the way down. But thank God I'm here safe and sound. And like I told Mr. Chike earlier on, I said, my goodwill message is going to come from the heart. I'm not going to read books because here we are talking about payment forums. We are talking about financial inclusions, and I'm going to talk about it with respect to how it affects the agents. And right now, we need to look at things differently. The payment forums cut across all strata. It cuts across all integrities of the economy. And one thing we have observed is the fact that there are stripes, there are egos, there are so many things that are going on that is making everybody feel as if everybody is at each other's throats. CBN is making the policies. Some of those policies can affect us negatively or positively. And one thing we need to do together, I was expecting to see Mrs. Uzogu here, so I can tell her that we need to work together to ensure that our payment systems becomes more robust, more rounded, more formidable, more interoperable, and more friendly. Because we all need to work together to make sure that this thing works. And works not only for us, but works for everyone that is involved. And here we are at this edition of Pafon 3.0, and are looking at so many things that we have to work together on. Let me just go through a few of the things that is mentioned here, because I said I wasn't going to read too much from the outside. It said, agent banking sustainability and liquidity challenges, fraud prevention and consumer trust at the last mile, pricing frames and commission structures, policy and regulation support, agent banking sustainability, fraud preventions. All these are things that affect us. And one way or the other, we are all victims, despite the fact that we are in the sector, operating within it. But how can we work together? Should we now limit ourselves to our policies and directions, or we are supposed to work together to ensure that, one, we forestall the fraud, two, we are able to ensure that everybody enjoys seamless payment systems without compromising anybody's identity or compromising anybody's integrity. So, what I'll encourage each and every one of us to do is, let's look at how we are going to work together. Let's avoid creating factions. Let us avoid creating bottlenecks for ourselves, because this is just a goodwill message. It's not a lecture, but it's for us to be able to work together. Let's see. And I think this forum should be extended a little bit more robust, probably not just talks. Let us make it an interactive session whereby we can easily sit in a relaxed atmosphere, discuss on how we can actually move things forward. Because right now we are more very official. Every of us are ready to talk business, but there is going to be a time whereby we need to talk together. Let us interface. Let us look at the problems. Let us look at ways in which we can foster effective payment systems and strive to achieve a formidable environment whereby you can be rest assured, I can be rest assured, and the people we are dealing with can also be rest assured. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for that. And I like the fact that you said we all shouldn't be too uptight, we should be free, say that it is. There are bound to be agreements and disagreements. We all disagree to agree or agree to disagree, whichever way. At the end of the day, we are moving the ecosystem forward, one step at a time. Can we please give him another round of applause? That was Mr. Oluwakuba, the Chairman, Lagos Chapter Association of Mobile Money and Bank Agents in Nigeria, AMBAN. Next in line for the goodwill is none other than Mujid Abayomi Agbola. He's the National President, Financial Inclusion Agents, Multipurpose Cooperative Society, FIAMCS. Can we give him a round of applause as he comes? We also want to recognize very specially the MD CEO, Sanef Uche, who's very good ably represented. Thank you very much.
Distinguished leaders in the industry, the organizers, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, all other protocols duly observed. I never knew I would be coming to give a goodwill address. I thought maybe just a lecture. In any case, I want to first and foremost give thanks, glory, honor, adoration unto Almighty God, whom have made it possible for this event to be held. And I pray that at the end of this session, we all have every cause to glorify the name of God. I want to thank the organizers for the job well done they have been doing for the first year, second year, and this is the third event. It is my prayer that you continue to grow higher and higher in the mighty name of mighty God. More option to function in Jesus' name. And welcome to this event. Please enjoy yourself. Thank you.
What's happening today? Very brief, straight to the point, and with this, I'm sure we're going to cover up for the 1 hour that we, spent earlier. Thank you very much, sir, for being that thoughtful. Again, for the goodwill message for today is none other than the chairman, Nigeria Information Technology Reporters Association of Nigeria, NITRA, Mr. Chike Onwebuchi. Can we appreciate him as he comes? I expect my other's applause to be more, because I don't have work at NNPC for now. Thank you very much, sir.
Good morning, everyone. I think I have to stand on existing protocol already established by my colleague. On behalf of NITRA, we are reporters, as journalists that cover ICT. And what we normally do is to push stories about the industry. What the industry is doing, we let the regulators know about it, and also citizens who are the end users of all services in ICT. We try to educate them on what is going on in the industry. If there's a new technology that is coming out, we try to explain it in a layman's language. So, and part of what we also do is that we try and organize events like this to also create opportunity for stakeholders in the industry to discuss about issues in the industry. And I have to thank organizers of this event. Ironically, I'm also part of the organizers of this event. So, and the key thing we are looking at is about payment. And there are a lot of things going on in the payment industry. Like our MC, when we started, she asked us to sit down if we not been debited by any bank. So, and virtually everybody sat down. Development in this sector is something that is heartwarming. I look back when you can make transfer and it goes. And they were telling us a lot of issues. That's the traditional banks. But when digital banks came, something that we felt was impossible to do became possible. And you see, if you take a statistics of bank transaction these days, you find out that fintech, that's the digital banks, they are taking good shock of transfer because it's reliability. So we want to push this message to our people, that's end users. So in order not to waste much time, I encourage everybody to contribute freely and learn one or two things. I also am going to learn. And one another area is I want to touch, and those people are going to discuss, need to look about it is issue of regulation. We are thinking that the industry is too regulated. Is that they want to stifle the development in fintech. And we'll try as much as possible to get CBN, but they will get our message in the way maybe they do not like it. But that's the truth of the matter. We are feeling that the industry is over-regulated. So our panel session will also look at that issue. So on this, I thank everybody and wish us a very fruitful deliberation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman of NITRA. Need I tell you that if you are operating within the tech ecosystem and you have any event happening across the world and you don't have NITRA members there, tell me what you gain. So with distinguished members of NITRA here present, you're sure that every discussion happening here today will reach to the appropriate quarters and the much needed change we so hope and wish to see within the ecosystem would come to the limelight. While he was speaking, keynote speaker stepped in, a man I respect so much because he's a pace setter, the first in every way. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm applause to Professor Adewale Peter Obadari, the CBO Digital and Code Limited. Can we give him a round of applause? Sir, you're welcome. When I saw your name, I was like, are you sure? Because this is my Organa Ajala the Traveler. You might see him here today, and the next time he's somewhere else. And thank you for all you do. God bless you, sir. I thank you very much, Mr. Chike, for the goodwill. And the final goodwill message before we delve straight into the keynotes will be by none other than the MDCEO Shared Agent Network Expansion Facilities, SANEF Limited, Mrs. Uche Uzoibo, AB represented this morning by Mr. Ilechukwu. Can we give him a round of applause as he comes?
Thank you very much. Good morning, all distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Please permit me to stand on the existing protocols. My name is TECHECONOMY Beji. I'm here representing my MD CEO, Mrs. Uche Uzoibo, and on behalf of SANEF Limited, who was unable to be here. But of course, because of the importance that Pafon has had or is having in the industry, it's so only right that her presence is felt here. I'll just keep her goodwill message short and straight to the point. But it's also very key to understand that Pafon has come to play a very important role in the ecosystem, right from Pafon 1.0, and now we're at Pafon 2.0. Oh, 3.0. Oh, wow. Sorry, I'm even a few way back. Thank you for correcting me on that. That means that we're going to go as far as Pafon 10.0 and upwards. Yes. And these are the organizations and platforms that are so important in the ecosystem. When we looked at the topic, we looked at the theme for the thematic position for today, digital payments as the catalyst for deepening financial inclusion in Nigeria. There could not have been a more auspicious time than now. It's a very important time to have conversations like this with experts, key stakeholders, collaborators in the industry. Coming from where we are as SANEF, Shared Agent Network Expansion Facilities, enablers of financial inclusion through agent banking, we see the various roles and the various critical touch points and the various collaborations that go on, and we understand that this industry is not only a growing industry, but it's an industry that will continue to grow, and I think we need to give a round of applause for that. We view digital payments not just as a convenience, but as a foundational infrastructure to unlock inclusive finance at scale and even the economy. But you see, I'm sure that today's conversations will unwrap various intrudes, various developments that we are not aware of, or we may be aware of, or we don't know the level at which they are, various positions that have continued to make this industry where they are. Sitting where we are, SANEF, and speaking to regulations and laws that look at how the ecosystem works, we believe, and very strongly so, that for the stakeholders, interpretation is crucial. Breaking down things to proper meaning is very important. Patience is also very important. Collaboration is critical, because without collaboration, we cannot move from step 1 to step 2 to step 3, as the case may be. And that's one of the reasons why at every opportunity we have, we continue to reflect that. So we are particularly committed to continue to do what we do best, which is that objective of advancing inclusion. But at the same time, we believe that to sustain the conversation, we must put heads together at such forums to craft out new ways, new strategies, new tactics of moving this industry forward. And to sustain that progress, we must continue to also address key infrastructure and such policy challenges with our ideas and new information. We will remain focused on expanding the network, driving financial literacy, which is very important in whatever we choose to achieve, promoting female inclusion, which over the years has seen some kind of progress, and strengthening frameworks that have to do with monitoring, and of course supporting policies that will enable the thriving digital payments ecosystem. I think that with that being said, I say thank you very much for this opportunity, and have a good day.
Let's appreciate you staying through one more time there. I was just looking at all of the acronyms from AFIAN to SANEF, AMBAN, and I'm asking who I would hold responsible for the transaction I did in 2024. I've not seen the reversal till now. Who should I hold responsible before we leave here? My bank. But my bank is not here. I complained. 2022.
Yes, evidence.
10-5. You paid me. So before I call in my keynote speaker, I asked a question and the house was very few then. Now we have more people. So I want to know if it's only the first few people that had that. This time around, we'll be having 10 fingers up. Do you have, can you stretch your hand? It's cold. I like to do this. Just stretch your fingers or 10. Say hi, wave to me with your 10 fingers. All right, I ask a question, it applies to you, you drop your finger. I want to know the last man standing. The first was, I was disappointed. I want to believe this one will have, so the first question, it was the first I asked everybody. Put a finger down if you've had a transaction, you've ever been debited without receiving value. I know everybody's hand will be down, so we have 9 equal, no cheating, 9 hands that are up. The second finger that will go down will be if you had to wait days or weeks for a reversal. Yeah, I've waited 2 years, so my 4 fingers should be down. The third finger should be if you've seen charges you didn't fully understand. Everybody till today, I wake up in the morning, it's like I am doing a job for some banks or some people, but it is well, we'll get there. Put a finger down if the transaction failed but your money still left your account. Okay, you can put 2 fingers down because that's also painful. Put a finger down if you've said this fee is too much for this small transfer. Put a finger down if network issues have stopped you from completing an urgent payment. And Amber, they're here, catch them. Put a finger down if you've ever been asked to add extra for POS charges. Put a finger down if you didn't know the fees until after the transaction. Hidden charges. Put a finger down if you struggled to reach customer care when something went wrong. I'm still waiting for the customer care. Put a finger down if you've ever doubted a payment because of fake alerts. All the fingers are up. Finished. Okay, put a finger down if you have told somebody I've sent it even before the alerts dropped. The Lord will judge all of you. Thank you very much. Give yourselves another round of applause. At this point, we'll be delving straight to the conversation. The very first is a keynote speaker. He's none other than the CDO of Digital Encode Limited, the first generation and visionary leader, the first professor of practice in cybersecurity in Nigeria, and arguably the most credentialed global digital trust leader, cybersecurity strategist, GRC thought leader, and many more. If I want to start reading his citation here, we might not leave here at 1 p.m. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please join me to make welcome to the microphone for his keynote, Professor Adewale Peter Obadari. we have it queued up. All right, so while we're waiting for Prof to set his stuff, it's always a delight listening to him. And even if I tell you that his time is just maybe 20 minutes, if he goes for 1 hour, you won't feel anything, because it's always a delight, listening to him, and he has a whole lot. We're listening to a professor of cybersecurity, the first in Nigeria. So get ready for some lecturing series, but in a very demure way. Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause as he comes to the podium. Can we please appreciate him one more time?
All right, good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. All right, it is my pleasure to be here this morning, and want to appreciate the leadership of Pafon for this privilege to do this keynote. All right, so yes, everybody has been talking about, in fact, in the what the chairman talked about regulation. I think maybe I will start my keynote on that note, because we really need to bring context. Is the slide up? All right. Yeah, so I think that we need proper, I want to say it very carefully, we need understanding, because when we talk about regulation, I think most of the time the innovators, especially in the payment industry, think that, we need, or maybe we should say we need to dimension what kind of regulation are we talking about. Because with the Central Bank of Nigeria, there are different types of regulations and requirements. I won't go to the area that is not my own area. Maybe regulations like how much deposit, how much the licensing fee and stuff like that. But when it comes to regulation in terms of cybersecurity, digital trust, yes, because I hear most of the time the fintechs, they feel like, these things, we're doing too much. Why? The innovators want, let's make everything open, let's build the infrastructure first, and then we can be building security later. But I'm here this morning to disappoint you that says it doesn't work like that. And in my opinion, while I hear you, and I actually don't think the regulation for cybersecurity is too much. And we're already seeing what is happening. In fact, in the last 4 weeks, Nigerian cyberspace has been experiencing buzz buzz. How many of you have been seeing the buzz buzz? Do you know what I mean by buzz buzz? Yeah. The buzz buzz is, see, those boys, they were hacking. Let me not lie to you. And it's not about, they will, and that's what you're saying. And everybody on social media today, in where I sit, I see a lot of people now making so much, everybody say, in fact, there's one big guy talking this morning, the Nigerian cyberspace is under attack. Don't mind, I'm a typical Nigerian man. I was doing Yumu in my car. You know what's called Yumu? Yumu in Nigeria, let me explain it to you. You are deceiving yourself. Yes. Do you know why? Now, I want to ask you, how many of you live in a house? How many of us? Yeah, sure. And in your house right now, are there people in your house? Some of you, there are no people. So do you have the key to your house? Yes, sir. You lock your door? Yes, sir. Are you sure? Then why are you locking your door? Okay. Why you should not open the door of your house? Why are you locking? For security purposes, why? See, we truly deceive ourselves on this, not just an African problem, but when it comes to cyberspace, see, the cyberspace, it is a public space. Then even your car, that's why you see Oriental, they will put it to buy you can imagine in this place, they'll say you park your car at your what? At your own risk. Do you know why? Because they cannot guarantee the security. And that's why even sometimes when you're sure of the integrity of your central lock, what do? You go there and try to open so that you don't want to hear the story that touches the heart. So what's my point? For payment infrastructure, it's sad that we think that we can unlock the door and now think everything will be fine. Let me not see most of the attacks that you have seen in Nigeria, and I'm saying this authoritatively, and I want people to come and challenge me. Yes, there are no sophisticated in cyber security. There are two types of attacks that you can experience. There is what's called structured attack, and there is unstructured. And from experience, the structured attack is just 20%. 80% is unstructured. And unstructured means that the hackers are in the wild, just like, if you door yourself for Lagos, in fact, somebody was telling me about experience in Oshodi. If you have not been to Lagos before, some guy came into Oshodi, but they could tell that he's a KJC. And do you know what? One guy just came and eat him. And he was like, what's happening? Why are you eating me? He wanted to fight them. One guy just started to say, oh boy, if you start a fight with these people now, the objective is they want to rob you. Just face your front. Are you there? So it's the same logic with cyberspace. If you open your door, if people will come in and invade you. And that's why most of the digital payment system, and unfortunately why is payment infrastructure being digitally invaded. That's where the money is. Will you go where there is no money? It's where the money is. That's why it seems that you are perpetually under attack. But those attacks are because you're not doing the basic stuff. And I'm not trying to, when I'm saying you're not doing the basic stuff, in fact, a lot of payment digital infrastructures, their immunity is down. Yes. So when I'm saying their immunity is down, there's so many payment infrastructure that are sick on the internet. But the innovators things are, have you seen somebody, have you been to somewhere in the hospital and say, this person, immunity is down? Have you seen such people? What happens to those people? In fact, in medicine, if someone's immunity is down, believe me sincerely, there will be what is called in medicine opportunities attacks. Opportunities attack is anything can invade that body system at that point in time. Tuberculosis, in fact, anything. Because everything. And that's the situation of most payment infrastructure. But if we want to drive financial inclusion, it needs necessarily there's a need for digital trust. There is a need to make sure that we're building, while nobody is trying to inhibit innovation, right? We're saying the question is, are you doing the right thing? That's what the regulation is trying to tell you. Are you doing the right thing? Are you doing them the right way? They sound alike, but they're not the same. Are you doing the right thing? Are you doing them the right way? Are you getting them done well? Those questions sound very similar, but they are two different. And because that's the only way you can answer the value question. And that's the only way we can answer the value question of inclusion, profitability, you understand? So, because when you say, are you doing the right thing? Guess what? It's a strategic question for your business. It's strategic for your business. Are you doing the right thing? Then, are you doing them the right way? It's an architectural question. Architectural question means the way and manner you are building your digital payment infrastructure, right? Because I don't have time, so I'm going to skip all of these. Like they said, I have over 63 professional certifications and I'm still counting. So, but sometimes people want to think that this man is a liar. That's why I like to list it. So, now what is he talking about? So, those are the things I listed. Yeah. Because, they will tell you, sometimes you come, it started from 1 and 48, now it's 33. So, that's why I try to list them. And don't think I'm going to stop. I'm going to 1,000. So, yes. All right. So, now, I'm talking about digital payment infrastructure because to drive inclusion, make no mistake about it. See, the big elephant in the room is what? It's cybersecurity, electronic fraud. That is the big elephant. So when you are innovating, when you are thinking, let's the speed to drive innovation, we need to go to the market in the next, we want to, those guys are waiting for you. If you're not doing the right thing, you're not doing them the right way, and you're not getting them done well. Because getting them done well has to do with what? Delivery. I remember sometimes ago, one particular payments, PPSP, they launched a POS, but the software on the POS, guess what? When you use your card, it was not validating PIN number. And people got to know. So when you go to their merchant, because it won't prompt you for PIN. And why? The problem is from the application that was, installed that is driving the POS machine. And believe me sincerely, the merchant lost a lot of money. So those are the kind of vulnerabilities that we have. So cybersecurity is the elephant in the house. And because of that elephant, it brings these two monsters. And that's why in the last 3 weeks, it seems that in Nigeria, cyberspace has been under attack. Because these two monsters will not go away. the two monsters of what? Cybersecurity threat and electronic fraud. I've been saying this line, I've been telling everyone every year, these monsters will not go away. And why will they not go away? In fact, look at the numbers. From 2015, there was a research work to say cybercrime is going to cost the world in excess of 3 trillion. Oh, that time, people thought it was a joke. They thought it was a joke. That, do you know how much $3 trillion is? But guess what? Over the years, in fact, that year, the cybersecurity ventures said that it's going to cost the world $10.5 trillion. Imagine that was 2025. And all of a sudden, really 2025 came, and now we're in 2026. Cybercrime has grown in numbers because, in fact, the third biggest economy right now, aside China and the US, fighting for dominance. You know that economy? In fact, is the country of what? Cybercrime. Is a big industry. Just like you are here this morning, you want to learn how to drive, financial inclusion, all the things that you need to know. Some guys, they are in this hotel. Let me just shock you. They are in this hotel, driving big cars because they want to do what? Fraud. When they see weaknesses, vulnerabilities, and when you think as an innovator, you want to drive speed to market. Guess what? In the process, when we're doing our innovation meeting, there will be business people, the technical guys, and all of that. Do you know what we call them? What do we call them? Stakeholders. While you are driving innovation, you call them stakeholders. Oh, all those people are sitting down. But guess what? Stakeholders that if you're not doing the right thing, you're not doing them the right way, and you're not getting them done well. Do you know the stakeholders that we introduce unannounced? I call them invisible stakeholders. And those invisible stakeholders are what? They are vulnerabilities. They are there, silent, and they are watching you. And that's what is foiling all the cyber attacks. And because there's no time, in the process of what we do, there are all these sources of fraud, electronic fraud, and we need proper understanding when it comes to building digital trust in payment infrastructure. I remember some time ago, I think about over 15 years ago, 2009, 2010, when Nigeria was, I always remember the magnetic stripe area. The magnetic stripe, if you have been around, yes, it was very easy to clone Nigerian cards. Everywhere. In fact, within split seconds, you can clone the card. So when I'm now saying, so that you don't feel like, what is this? I don't say I'm short, I'm just vertically challenged. So, because you might be thinking, what is this vertically challenged I'm talking about? About regulation. Now, guess what? What regulation did? When Nigeria the payment infrastructure was overwhelmed with cloning. Things were bad. But regulation came. Let's move from where? From magnetic stripe card to what? To chip and pin card. If your card has been cloned in the last 5 years, raise up your hand. Clone card. No, but there is nothing like that. Why? Because just regulation to say move from magnetic stripe card to chip and pin card. That's what regulation does. But innovation, we want to say, I remember that time that the people that were in the meeting, all the big boys in the Nigerian industry, when they were making a decision about how to start payment in Nigeria, do you know what? From their innovation intelligent quotient, they were thinking, let's start with magnetic stripe. Oh, they started, and it was almost killing the innovation that we have not started. Why? Because of that vulnerability. But immediately there is EMV. But guess what? The EMV is a standard, is a regulation from European, MasterCard, and Visa. They all came together and they said, let's have this standard. Let's have all over the world, not just Nigeria. And it stopped that. But guess what? Unfortunately, after that, EMV cannot solve all the problems. It can only solve. So that's why it seems like you are thinking the regulations are too much. Because that regulation only solve what? Cloning. Because there are other areas. In fact, this is what happened after that regulation came. This is the fraud trend post EMV. Post EMV, the dynamics for the cyber criminals changed. Because now they know that, wow, we cannot do what? We cannot clone card again. Then what can we do? They started to think. In fact, the cyber criminals do. They innovate. They started to think, let me be honest with you.
So, and we underrate them. You know, like you. So they start to innovate. In fact, in the earlier days of chip and pin card, you can see the attack landscape. They were targeting card holders, small merchant, mega stores. But right now, don't mention company names. See, all these companies, they want to, how to say, break into and move. If you have heard what has happened in the last 24 months in Nigeria, 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion, 4 billion, big figures. Now, fraudsters have become what? Is borderless. There is no time I'm going to. And now, what are the new trends? The new trends means that there are now new vulnerabilities beyond what? Beyond just cloning cards. There are vulnerabilities, you can see, there are vulnerabilities, weaknesses in payments. I'm talking about payments now. Payment infrastructures like business logic vulnerabilities, broken access control, input validation, and parameter manipulation. All those weaknesses are now within the system. I'm only just breaking them down, right? Just for explanation, there's no time. But guess what? In fact, just yesterday, even my company had to, Digital Eco, we had to, by ourselves, our corporate social responsibility. Because when I started to read what has been happening, everybody said, oh, CAC has been hacked, everybody, and they are thinking, wow, maybe truly, you understand, we're actually under attack. We wrote this an advisory. Because guess what you have seen? In fact, this thing you can download it on the internet. Yes, you can just look for Digital Echo, social on LinkedIn. All the things that we have seen, let me be honest with you, it will be shocking. That big organization, they will, in fact, the way I can explain it to you is like, just like I've asked you, did you lock your door? Did you lock your car? You see big organization, they will just open their door. And then, in fact, those hackers are walking in. But yes, why is it not very easy? The truth is, AI is now foiling the way those guys can enter the door. If before, it's going to take them to be, when somebody, how those armed robbers wants to do now. Just like when somebody has what do they call this gun? Our day gun, right? Yeah. So I think that's the best way I can explain it. A day gun, even if you're a very tough person, if somebody brings day gun, you can see, but if you see someone with AK-47, you go think twice. So what is happening right now is AI is handling AK-47 in the hand of those guys within seconds. In fact, before this attack, I called one of the top, one of our critical infrastructure, one of the MD, and I told him, I said, sir, something happened. When Anthropic launched Cloud Code, that was in January, I said, sir, there will be problem in the Nigerian cyberspace, that they should have a meeting. So I wanted to have for us to call out the press that there is a problem coming, honestly, and that this AI, and that's what you're not seeing. But that thing is possible. Do you know why? All of these vulnerabilities, I've listed them. You can download it so that you can use it for your own organization too. Is all of this, please, if you're taking anything from this session, from this keynote, we need trust in the digital infrastructure. And the way to build trust is to make sure that as we innovate, we should not introduce vulnerabilities. And what is vulnerabilities? It's weaknesses. Because when there are weaknesses within our digital infrastructure, it will be what? Digitally invaded by the cyber criminals. We need to foster digital trust. If you have read a book called Toyota Way, in the earlier days in the manufacturing industry, so that you understand, in the manufacturing industry, people think they can do things anyhow too. But what was happening? You manufactured 100 cars, then you will have to recall 80. So nobody told them because the consumers will not buy. You understand? People were losing trust. And what happens? In fact, in the book, The Toyota Way, it shows how Toyota introduced what is called Total Quality Management System. In fact, in the automobile industry, the error to defect rate, do you know what it is? Is almost 0.00001 because they cannot afford. And that's what we need to think about as innovation for payments. Payment is something very sensitive. It has to do with people's money. And if trust is lost, people will not use it. People think, I'm an expert, digital transformation expert. For me to have internet banking on my corporate accounts, because I know things go wrong. So when we are saying we're driving the inclusion, we need to have to treat the subject of what? Digital trust. But this is the problem. Most organizations, innovators. Now, this slide is very important to me. I want to show you. This is the situation of most organizations. When we say regulation is too much, we don't want to spend money. We want to spend money to build the solution. But we don't want to spend money to do what? To secure. So that's what I hear most of the time. That's what, when they're saying regulation is too much, that's what. In fact, the innovators don't have problem with calling the developers, and they develop, they're all doing, they're happy, but they don't want to do it securely. It does not work. How many of you, sir? I love you, sir. I like your white up and down and your red cap. And I want to give you a limousine. And that limousine, there is no brake. The brake is not working. You take it? Yeah? Why? Why will you? It's a limo. So that is it. It's interesting. And they will give you a mandate that, one regulation. You cannot, not that you say, okay, I will take it and then go and put brake. No, you won't. That's how you'll be driving it. Will you take it? And that's what innovators are saying they want to do. Let us build. I'm not saying, so be careful. I want to be careful what I'm saying. I'm not saying regulation that inhibits regulation. No. You should start to see, from cybersecurity point of view, innovation is what? Is an enabler for what? For your, and what is an enabler? And an enabler is what makes something to work well. So cybersecurity is an enabler. It's not a cost. Because if you don't, you will be embarrassed. And because this is what you can see, cybersecurity budget before a breach. When nothing has happened, nobody they'll be, you see the way they are counting the coins. But now, when there is a problem, when you have been exposed, your platform has been exposed, what happens? You now see everybody running up and down. They'll be calling cybersecurity consultants. What we need to do is, as we are building an innovation intelligent quotient, we need to match it with what? Our cybersecurity risk intelligent quotient. And our mindset has to change as we build digital trust. And what is this mindset? You can see, are we doing the right thing? It's very important, honestly. You can see, it's a strategy question. Are we doing them the right way? It's an architecture question. Are we getting them done well? Is delivery. How are we delivering our products, our payment product? Because that's the only way we can do what? We can get value. We need to understand the big picture when it comes to building trust in digital payment infrastructure. The subject of it's something, and this is what I'm saying. So don't think that I've come here to counter what the chairman has said, that innovation, regulation, in the other areas, you can have that deliberation. But when it comes to cybersecurity, believe me, I don't think the regulation is too much, because what cybersecurity regulations, standards, and frameworks should help you to do, you can see is what? Is not to stop your what? Your innovation, but it's to help you to balance protection activities and what? Sustainment activities. I'm around here. So, in a nutshell, but guess what? Even some people, all these regulation, ISO 27001, PCI DSS, and everything, do it for the right thing. A lot of times, too, you see organizations, they have all these regulation, all these standards, but what do they have? They only have certificates, because somebody has issued them certificate because they are not doing it for the right. So, at the end of the day, you have to invest in building digital payment trust in digital payment infrastructure. You have to invest in people and what? And process. It's not just about technology. So, it's not just about technology, because in digital trust, payment trust, what you want to achieve is what? Security and reliability, accountability and oversight, inclusive, ethical, and responsible use. That's the only way you can drive the numbers, because when people trust, you understand? So the market becomes what? It becomes a pool system. You won't need to force people, because what we are doing now is we're doing push system. Do you know what push system? We're doing marketing to drive people, financial inclusion and all of those things. But people are very skeptical. But when we build digital trust, it becomes a what? A pull system. And that's what digital trust. So, and it's hard work. It's hard work. It's a journey. It's not that you build digital trust today and then the next product you are doing, you are still introducing vulnerability. It's a journey. It's a lifetime hard work to build digital trust in payment system. So we have to keep learning and practicing what you are learning, because it's one thing to learn and it is one thing not to practice it. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. While you're still there, can we give him another round of applause? Because, like he mentioned, he's an Ajala. A contribution, a question for Prof before he leaves. Let's take that. My microphone is ready. Anybody?
Thank you so much, Prof, for everything you spoke on. And even, I just want to touch on the part where you talked about Max Stripe cards and then we're at Chip and Pin. Now we're at the place of contactless payments. We're at the place of contactless payments now. Personally, the most secure form of contactless payment is the one that goes on your mobile phone, but it works on your physical card as well. So now, what's the security risks that, I mean, I'm aware of some, but from your professional standpoint, what are the security risks that has to do with that, especially in a place like Nigeria that is extremely low trust?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So one key point is, don't forget, when we're talking about contactless, it has to do with a lot of encryption going on, key exchange. If keys are compromised, and which is already happening, in fact, what those guys are doing is they're doing a lot of replay attacks on contact. And replay means that they compromise the key, right? Either way, and there's always a man in the middle attack. And that man, when there's a man in the middle attack, in fact, if you are doing a transaction, I can use some tools to intercept that transaction and then replay it and spend your money on your card, right? So those are the risks, with contactless as well. But the truth is, there's nothing like 100% security. So it's about risk management. So what do you need to do? It's just to make sure that whether it is contactless, just do it, because there are okay. And I'll give you an example of one of the attack that is like cloud computing, right? The problem most of the time is not the technology. The problem most of the time is the way the technology is implemented. And what do I mean? So most of those, one of the big companies that were exposed, guess what? Their keys, for the encryption keys for the application, guess what? It was exposed on the internet without them knowing, because it was embedded in what? In the applications, and it was online. So, so the same thing with NFCs. So if you don't store the keys, the encryption keys properly, and gets into anybody's hand, it can actually be compromised, and somebody can do a man in the middle attack. So more of let implementation be done properly. Yeah, so that would be my response.
All right, we have one more here.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Prof. And it has been amazing. I think this is like a third times I've been listening to your. I'm the Vice President for Association of Mobile Money and Bank Agents in Nigeria. And I know you speak so much of the platform, but I will have interest to talk about do individuals, because I believe I come from the constituency of agents. I come from the constituency of customers. Like my dear sister here saying, is there any things that cyber attack to individuals, like agents, like the customers? If yes, what are the way, as a Nigerian, we able to know that this platform that I want to use as an agent is a vulnerable to secure me? Because if the platform has a problem, definitely it will castigate it to the customer. I think that's the area that I would love. I know you have a lot, but I think I would love to learn more about that so as we can educate our members and then the consumer more. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that question. So this is the age everybody has to be cybersecurity aware. In fact, just like the same way, there was a time they were talking about emotional intelligence and there was so much awareness. There was a time for financial intelligence. In fact, this age of innovation, everybody needs cybersecurity intelligence awareness. In fact, it starts from the way we daily operationalize our payment transactions. In fact, I'm always paranoid when we go to any supermarket or anywhere to buy your card. Do you know what all of us do? You take that card, they give you your card, and then, in fact, I was screaming in one merchant place 2 days ago that, oh God, what's wrong with you? Because they took my card from me, and I see the way they took my card, and the lady, she's with my card, and she was trying to now do the transaction. I said, oh God, bring the POS up. Let me see, because let me be honest with you. Those basic things, you might be thinking, why are you making it? Because that card, they can, while they are doing that, he can take the PAN, the primary account number, that's the 16 digit, and your what? And your 3 digits at the PAN. Let me not lie to you. If they capture it, it's law. Because, and that's why you see some transaction that you did not initiate, because they can do card not present transaction. They can. Except if, and what is card not present transaction? It means that I will not need, because some merchant site does not need PIN validation and everything. So it is our attitude. So when I go to an agent too, because agent, in fact, there are 2 attacks on agent. Number one, you can have a compromised agent. Compromised agent, and you can have an agent that is careless, that does not even know that his platform has been compromised. So, but what do you need to do as consumer? Just pay attention. Pay attention. Any platform, there are so many things you can check, but pay attention. I think it will help you. Yes.
Thank you. We have 2 more.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor. I want to quickly ask, because there are a whole lot of payments platforms here in Nigeria, and if you look at the infrastructure, it's really, really laughable. Like most of the new ones coming out, because there are a whole lot of innovators, they feel like they don't really need a cybersecurity expert. They don't really need a front end, a back end engineer or something. AI does everything. Yeah. And I want to ask: is it being regularized? As in, is there a way that the infrastructure is being regularized to avoid all these, at least to minimize it? Though it may not be totally, but at least to minimize it to some extent.
Absolutely. If you're in the payment today, believe me sincerely, the Central Bank of Nigeria, as the apex body, has done a lot of work to churn out a lot of documents, standards, regulations on what you need to do to be able to do what? To say, are you doing the right thing? All those things that I mentioned. Yeah, and one of them is, you have to be PCI DSS certified and all of those things. But guess what? They are not silver bullets. They are not silver bullets. You can choose to do it them well. Yeah, but in terms of what the regulators are doing to say, do the right thing. But they can't, it is the responsibility lies on you to make sure that you are doing the right thing as a company. But the point is, if anything goes wrong, let me not lie to you, the liability is going to be on you. But from a regulator point of view, yes, they are trying to regularize, which is why the chairman is thinking, of course, and I know the innovators are saying regulations are too much, but those things are there. But the problem is, most of those things are, there's so much theater in the way we implement those standards.
Okay, Prof. Good day, Prof. Thanks so much for your keynote. My name is Ima Okonji. I'm a journalist with This Day newspaper, technology reporter. Okay. My question is based on the 2 things you spoke here about today. You spoke so much about trust and trust and innovation. Yeah. You see, for me, innovation builds trust. When innovation keeps coming on, it builds the trust of customers to rely on that platform. But most times, innovation comes so rapidly, and then customer becomes weary of keying into innovation, and then they begin to feel that it's eating deep into their purse. I want to find out from you, or what would be your advice to customers, to organizations about constant innovation? How they should key into constant innovation to help them build a stronger platform and then build more trust? Thanks.
Yeah, well, my opinion, POV, like they say on the internet, I don't think the problem, the innovation doesn't build trust. Yes. Just like we tell, even in the physical world, that you have to earn respect. The same way, innovators have to earn the trust. And how do you earn the trust is everything that I've mentioned. You understand? Because if things are working well, it's just like cars. There are some cars now, that, don't touch this car. I don't want to, so that they come and arrest me. There are some cars, when you hear their name, you know that. In fact, even some of your friends will buy some car, you will tell them, say, oh boy, why you go buy this kind of car? See, that's the way you should look at payment innovation too. And consumers, see, my point is, there is no need to beg the consumers, or the customers know what they want. And anything that works, and that's why I talk about the pull and the push system. The pull system is, they will gravitate to where there is the trust. It is normal. Of course, the customer wants ease of use as well. They want all of those things. But if you jeopardize ease of use against trust, which is digital trust in payment platform, yes, they can rush at first, but guess what? The same way they will rush to you is the same way they will run away. So the only company that will win at the end is the one that can balance the fulcrum. And that was this last slide I tried to show about protection activities and sustainment activities. Balancing innovation with what? With cybersecurity. That's the only way. The customers will come. They will come. They will definitely come without begging them.
Yes. Good morning, Prof. So my name is Oladamnola, and I lead the operation team at Maitura. Maitura is an health tech company. So we build digital tools for individuals, the primary end users, like everyone at home, and also for healthcare providers. So what would you say about this innovation, especially when it comes to data of patients? And then,
It's worse because, see, the same thing. In fact, there are critical sectors, payment, health, because your platform, I hope you are aware that in Nigeria today, and not just Nigeria, in fact, before Nigeria, there is a regulation for data protection and data privacy. So in the EU and all of those things. So in Nigeria today, so if you build a platform, right, to drive, maybe end-to-end hospital management or whatever, and from that, because guess what? All those vulnerabilities that I listed, because you're going to probably host it in a cloud somewhere. If those vulnerabilities cut across payment infrastructure, health infrastructure, payment, and because, let me say something before I go. Most of this innovation that we're talking about, whether it is internet banking, your health application, mobile health application, agency banking, is what? Is programming. It's programming. So we just call it innovation. Anything, everybody is programming. So if there are fundamental flaws, it will still expose. And if it exposes somebody's health record, in fact, in the US, it's worse. There is a regulation called HIPAA. Health, in fact, it can liquidate a business because somebody can. So, but my point is, as an health innovator, you have the responsibility to look at and when you're talking to your innovators and tell them, this app must not divulge people's personal data. You understand? Because if it does, you can actually be sued.
Because of time, we're going to take the last question.
And test. Always test.
Test.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Tell us quickly.
Okay. Good morning, Prof. Thanks for your keynote. Yeah. Sir, my name is Juliet. I write for Vanguard newspaper.
Okay.
So I want to know, from your vantage position, do we have statistics of what Nigeria has lost in recent time?
Numbers. Believe me, I won't lie to you. It's huge. I will answer it politically. Yes, so yes, this one I will answer it politically. It's huge. And believe me sincerely, it is huge. So, and that's actually why it seems like I come hard on innovators. At the end of the day, who is losing? You build an app for payment and you're thinking you want to make money. In fact, recently, there was a microfinance bank that they've been begging them to do penetration testing. How much is penetration testing? Maybe sometime, depending on who you want to use, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million. Oh, okay. If you want a company that, is so sophisticated, you pay 10 million. For microfinance bank, they didn't do the penetration testing. They did not test. They were thinking the money is too much. But guess what? In the cost of going up and down, they lost 3 billion. So, they
were penetrated.
Okay, now the question is this. They lost 3 billion naira. So who is fooling who? So innovators, I don't know. So sometimes I've stopped pitying them because I'm like, oh, what are you talking? And it's not just a Nigerian problem. Because let me now tell you, your total cost of ownership of what is now be what? Because when you have lost money, that means that money, the 3 billion has gone. There will now be the cost of what? Incident management. And if luck is not on your side, if the data of the customers is now exposed, NDPC will be on you. You will be fined. A bank in Nigeria has been fined 500 million. It's in the news. For divulging customer data, you will be fined. So cost of fine, cost to the fraudster, and at the end of the day, you will still come back and do what? And fix the problem.
All right.
So,
this young man raised his hand, and let's just take the last one.
Yes. Thank you very much. My name is Ibukun Agumbiade. So my question is that from what I've understand so far about cybersecurity in Nigeria, I discovered that the regulations we have been using, either the HIPPA, the GDPR, and what have you, they are either developed in America, Europe, but what are organizations like yours doing to develop an homegrown regulations to meet innovations that are tackling homegrown challenges?
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for that question. I actually think that, number one, I want to answer it from two perspectives. So, yes, most of those international standards, they are international standards because the technology, did we build the technology? These are not IFA technology. These are technology, TCP/IP, sir. See, so you see, when I hear TCP/IP that governs the entire internet, they do not build it. You understand? So that's why it seems that most of those standards or frameworks originate from the people that started what? The innovation. But I hear you. So that's the first way to look at it. But I hear you, all those standards, can we domesticate those standards? And that's what, if you look at the Nigeria, the GDPR is data protection law in the European Union. But when it comes to Nigeria, it was domesticated. So what we did, in fact, what the Nigerian Data Protection Commission has done is to look at the standard and then domesticate it for what? Nigerian use. That is being done. But, this is my but. Whether you domesticate any standard, now, I'm putting a question back to you. You're a human being, right? I am. Now, so there is what is called, all of us grown up to be, they tell us balanced diet. What is balanced diet? What's balanced diet?
Food that is balanced.
Eh?
Food that is balanced.
What's food that is
balanced?
And the food that is balanced is, they will tell us, it has what?
Vitamins,
Carbohydrate, protein.
protein.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so why can't we tell ourselves that let us have a Nigerian balanced diet? And we actually have Nigerian balanced diet because, so that's the way. So when we have argument against homegrown, oh yeah, we're already doing it because when there's a standard, the balanced diet, if the white man is eating bacon, you understand? Don't worry. In fact, something just came to my mind while I was growing up. I remember my teacher, don't worry, I didn't go to a private school. So in fact, I will sing the song and I'll interpret it that Oyibo muti, mo muko gbono, ohun gbigbono lajomu. What does that mean? If a white man drinks tea, what will I do? I'll drink pap. But so exactly. So, but what does that mean? If a white man is drinking tea, you too, you drink what? Ogi, pap. You drink and it's still what? Everything is hot. So when we look at all these standards, what we need to do, so I call it internalization. We can internalize it to suit our own uniqueness. So I agree with you. But that we want to rebuild, honestly, it will just be an exercise in futility. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's give another round of applause for Prof. Prof, you're not going yet. We'll be taking us into the world of credit data and how, when responsibly harnessed, it can help financial institutions better understand individuals, reduce risk, and ultimately expand access to credit for undeserved communities. And to do justice to that, we have Dr. Jamila Sharif Ayedu, the VP FinTech Nigeria, MD CEO Credit Registry. She is being represented this morning by Mr. Chinedu Onya, Manager, Professional Services Group at Credit Registry. Can we give him a round of applause as he comes? He will be speaking on utilizing credit data to drive deeper inclusion. We can be more generous with the applause.
Good morning, distinguished guests, regulators, and the innovators around. I am Chinedu Onya. I'll be representing my MD. She is unavoidably absent. Nigeria stands at a defining intersection of innovation, and opportunity. Over the last decade, we have witnessed an extraordinary transformation in our financial ecosystem. Digital payments have surged at an unprecedented scale. According to the Nigerian Interbanking Settlement System, instant payment transactions exceeded 600 trillion naira in 2024 alone, a figure that places Nigeria among the most dynamic digital payment economies globally. Financial inclusion has also improved, rising to approximately 64% of the adult population, driven by mobile money, fintech innovation, and agent banking expansion. But progress, as we know, must never be mistaken for completion, because beneath these impressive numbers lies a more sobering truth. According to EFINA, nearly 26% of Nigerian adults remain completely financially excluded. Millions more operate on the fringes, partially included, but not fully empowered. This is the paradox of our time. We have built one of Africa's most advanced payments infrastructures, yet inclusion remains uneven, fragile, and in some cases, reversible. Volume is not inclusion. Activity is not empowerment. A transaction that starts and ends in cash is not just a transaction. It is the missed opportunity for growth, for visibility, and for transformation. The real issue before us is not access, it is fairness. Because inclusion without fairness is an illusion. If digital payments are unreliable, unpredictable, and exclusionary, then they do not deepen inclusion. They erode it. When a trader loses money to a failed transaction, when a salary earner cannot access funds on time, when hidden charges eat into everything margins, what we are witnessing is not innovation. We are witnessing exclusion digitally delivered. So what then defines fair digital payments? At its core, fairness rests on three non-negotiable pillars. First, transparency. Users must know exactly what they are paying, with no hidden costs, no ambiguity, and no surprises. Second, reliability. Payments must work consistently, instantly, and without failure. Trust, built not in promises, but in performance. Third, accessibility. Systems must be designed for everyone, not just the urban, the educated, or the digitally fluent. Inclusion must be intentional. Because when these three pillars are present, something powerful happens. Trust is formed, and trust is the true currency of financial systems. We are moving into what I call the trust economy. In this economy, people commit to the systems they believe in. And trust is not built by technology alone. It is built through fairness, consistency, and accountability. Without trust, digital payments become optional. With trust, they become transformational. Now, here is where the conversation deepens. Every digital payment creates a footprint. Every footprint creates data. And every data set, when structured, creates identity. This is the bridge between payments and credit. And this is where true financial inclusion is unlocked. In today's economy, data has become the new collateral, but data in isolation is not enough. It must be complete, structured, and meaningful. Whether you are a lender, an investor, a policymaker, or a financial institution, you cannot afford partial visibility. This is why our philosophy as credit registry is clear. A decision without credit registry is an incomplete decision, because without our insights, you may see the transaction, but you remain blind to the character behind it. What we do is simple but powerful. We transform transaction data into trust frameworks. We convert financial behavior into credit intelligence. We turn data into dignity. We are enabling a new financial reality, one where data flows seamlessly, insights are immediate, and decisions are informed. We are not just building systems. We are building financial visibility for millions of Nigerians, because visibility is the first step towards opportunity. Globally, there is clear evidence that financial inclusion drives economic growth, reduces poverty, and strengthens resilience. The Central Bank of Nigeria has consistently emphasized that inclusive financial systems are essential to national development. But inclusion must go beyond access. It must translate into credit, into opportunity, into upward mobility. And that journey begins with fair digital payments. We are not here merely to onboard users into systems. We are here to make every Nigerian financially visible. We are here to ensure that every transaction tells a story and that every story counts. We are here to transform credit from a privilege into a tool for generational wealth. There is a popular proverb that says, "Teach a man to fish, and you feed him for a lifetime." But at Credit Registry, we believe we must go further. Do not just teach Nigerians to fish, empower them to own the pond. Let us build a nation where every digital handshake becomes a stepping stone to opportunity, to prosperity, and to legacy. The future of the Nigerian financial system will not be defined by how fast our payments are, but how fair they are. Because fairness builds trust. Trust drives inclusion, and inclusion unlocks prosperity. The question before us is simple. We will build systems that merely process transactions, or systems that transforms lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's appreciate him one more time as he goes back to his seat. Thank you very much, Mr. Chinedu, for that. Inclusion without fairness is an invasion, and for every fair digital payment, it must come under 3 pillars: transparency, reliability, and accessibility. Thank you very much. We're moving quickly as we hope to meet up with time. We've started with cybersecurity, down to data, and now, of course, credit data, and now we are moving to payment rails. As we all know, Nigeria's digital economy is only as strong as the rails that power it. For merchants and SMEs, payments aren't just transactions, they are lifelines for growth, access, and opportunity. Taking us through the next presentation is Dennis Ajalie, MD Team App Limited, ably represented this morning by Mr. David Ijaola. He will be speaking to us on payment rails, strengthening Nigeria's payment rails for merchants, SMEs, and inclusive growth. Can we please appreciate him?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for having me. My name is David Ijaola. I am product leader at TeamApt. I'm representing our MD today. I'm talking about strengthening payment rails, basically enabling inclusion for merchants and small and medium-sized enterprises. Presentation. So I'll just go on. So I'm here representing TMAP. TMAP is a subsidiary of MoneyPoint. And essentially what we do is that we are the payment infrastructure arm of MoneyPoint. We own a bunch of licenses, a switching license, non-bank acquiring license, PTSP, and also super agents license. What all this does is that it helps us basically provide payments to all merchants, right? So if you've ever used a MoneyPoint POS, you've interacted with TMAP. And if you don't know what a switch is, let me just break it down. You know, if you're trying to buy shoes, say you're trying to make a transfer to a shoe vendor on Instagram, right? Every amount of money you're trying to move is basically you telling your bank to authorize payment and send that payment from your account to another bank. As a switch, our job is basically to route that payment and assure that every party gets settled. So we're like, David wants to make a payment. David's bank is UBA, your bank is OPay. You're the one selling the shoes, right? So my bank tells, I'm Timapt. I tell the bank, David wants to make a payment. Can he make this payment? It's yes or no. For different reasons, right? And yes or no is a very simplistic way to say the checks that go under the hood, right? So yes or no, yes, the payment goes, no, it gets cancelled, right? So our job is to make sure we do all the checks. Our job is to make sure everything that needs to be checked goes on in under 2 to 3 seconds, right? So there's so much that goes under the hood that the switch takes care of. So every time you click on send, you authorize that payment, just know that there's a bunch of processes going on that ensure that you get success, right? So for TMAT, we have a bunch of products that do this for us, right? And this licenses basically enable us do it. We can onboard merchants through our payment gateway. We can offer POS devices, and we manage an agent network that is present in all 774 local governments in Nigeria. So we are very serious about merchants having access to these tools. We're very serious about strengthening financial rails. It's actually what I think of every single morning. How can I make it easier, safe, reliable? How can I make sure it reaches the right people, right? How can I make sure it's relevant to their problems, right? It's literally why we exist as a company. And some of our products include, sorry, the slide before. So some of our products include Monify Payments Gateway. We have direct debits. We have third-party processing. We have the POS terminals, right? And we also have the agents network. So again, all of this is packaged in such a way that we're able to serve not just MoneyPoint. Apart from MoneyPoint, we have other major merchants we serve. And we also serve small businesses because we believe that every idea starts from a small business, from a small product to a small business to a company to an enterprise, right? So small businesses are the center of everything we do. And this makes me segue into something that happened recently. I know the MC mentioned that she bought palm oil recently. She made a transfer, although that was not a very happy story. But I have a happier story, right? So I tried to buy fruit some time back. I've been trying to eat more fruits, but I've been using work as an excuse to just binge eat. Anything I see, snacks, everything at night. I mean, I don't sleep early, sadly, right? So I just try to eat anything I find and stay awake. And my point has been to basically eat more healthy, right? Eat fruits instead of snacks. And I've been looking for a vendor around me. So I always drive to the store to get fruits. It's not sustainable. It's not a system. I've been looking for a vendor around me that basically would always just come provide the fruits. And one day I was driving and I found a fruit vendor and I was skeptical, right? I don't think this guy will accept transfer. I don't ever carry more than 1,000 naira cash with me, ever, right? And the 1,000 naira cash is for the Ebo guys. We all know when you're driving, you must settle somebody at some point, right? So I saw this guy in a stall and he was basically selling fruits. And I was very skeptical that this guy will not have a POS device or even an account to transfer to. And I nearly didn't go to him. His name is Usman, right? And I just was like, you know what? Being that I work where I work, even if he doesn't have these devices, there'll be a POS agent somewhere, right? And I decided to basically take a chance on him and go patronize him. And I got fruits from him. And to my surprise, he had 2 POS devices. He had a phone. Essentially, we could transfer money to him. And another surprising thing is that there was a stall of people selling vegetables and fruits there, and he owned everything. Like he was the owner of all those stalls, employing people. And this brings me to, why is it important that we target small businesses? Why is it important that payment rails are strengthened for them? The first core thing is that you need to look at the impact of what we've done so far. Like, what has payments done for our economy? And next slide. Great. So we've actually done a great job in financial inclusion. Like, if you check the 2013 circular that went out on financial inclusion, we've come a long way, right? NIBS NIP, I think, is first in one of the standards for financial inclusion in Africa. We currently do the largest in real-time global payments, right? We're around 64% in formal financial inclusion. There's over 6 million POS devices today. Actually, more than if by the time we get the data for 2026. That means that we've done a good job in making sure payments reach the right people at the right time. We've made sure that in different locations where banks cannot reach, people are still able to make payments, and they're able to make payments formally, right? So if we've done all this work, what does that mean about the merchants, the people that actually drive the day-to-day transactions? All of us here, many people have gone to a store today. You've bought something from a store today. How many people have actually bought something from like a roadside vendor, somebody on the street, somebody that is not in a formal shop or something? Yes, it's our culture to basically patronize each other, right? And this culture goes beyond just words. It actually impacts our economy. Next slide. Right? Today, SMEs make 48% of our global GDP, of our Nigeria's GDP, not global GDP. Essentially, at one point or the other, you've thought to yourself that there's something you can sell, right? Anybody here has tampered with a hobby and decided, I'm going to set up a store and sell this thing, right? Even if it's just to my family members, I'm going to sell this thing. My younger brother did it before. He wanted to start selling cars and decided that only his family members will be the people that buy cars. It's not food now. You don't buy cars every day. But we've all had that idea that there's something we can sell that everybody would basically patronize. And there's people that actually go ahead and chase those ideas. They decide that they are going to set up a business and basically they will have people patronize them. And those people make up 48% of Nigeria's GDP. Those people make up 84% of national income. A lot of unskilled labor is people basically running around supporting small businesses. The delivery guy you see on the bicycle riding, right? We have created the environment ourselves to ensure that anybody who comes up, sets up a business, anyone else can be employed to support them, right? There's 41 million of those businesses today, more than 41 million, because these are 2025, 2024 numbers. So imagine the number we have today. So what can we do to support them? Or what's the current state of these merchants? The truth of the matter is that everything is not as good as it seems on paper. These businesses are actually dying at a crazy rate, right? 95% of small businesses basically disappear in over 5 years. So we know that there's the issue of an enabling environment, but we need to think further beyond an enabling environment, beyond waiting for the government to do stuff. What can we do as payment providers? What can we do as infrastructure to make sure that these businesses survive longer, to make sure that these businesses don't need to think about payment as a problem? You know, your customer is skeptical about paying you with cards. Are there better options? Your customer is scared about making a transfer and the receipt being dubious. Are there better options, right? So every day we need to think about the fact that our payment rails is in a good place right now, but it's not where we need it to be. There's still so much work that needs to be done to make sure that more of our people are basically comfortable with making payments online. That it's a no-brainer for a merchant to say, oh, I don't want cash. I want you to transfer to me. Next slide. So here's our hypothesis. We think that the next wave of financial inclusion is not something that can be driven by force. We think it's something that has to come naturally. Right? We think the merchants are the ones that have to be insistent on the fact to their customers. They have to convince their own customers to transfer to them, to pay via card, to pay via this channel. Basically, to bring the payments digitally to them, right? Because it doesn't go just beyond getting paid for that particular good. Payment now transfers to knowing who your customer is, knowing how you can deepen your service to your customer, knowing how you can expand your service to your customer. So if we can make the payment rails really strengthened for that particular merchant, for that particular business, if we make it, like I said, a no-brainer for you to always use that digital option, it's certain that more customers, more people that are not currently included formally in our financial space will be inclined to come in there. Next slide. So how do we actually strengthen the rails as it is currently? The first thing is reliability. And reliability is a combination of it's always available, it's secure, right? Like Prof said, you need to build solutions in mind by keeping security in mind, essentially. And something that we care about with TMAPT, we develop products with security developing with us, right? We always look through what could possibly go wrong before we bring anything online. Right? We don't, I think we are very, very inclined to work with regulators. We are very inclined to make recommendations. Why? Because we see that if anything goes wrong, the minute reliability fails, everybody does decide, you know what, I'm going back to the ATM, I'm going to collect my cash, I'm no more doing transfers. And we've just broken the rails there, right? So we cannot actually compromise on reliability. It cannot just be always available. It has to be safe. If there's any issue, your reversal cannot be coming in 4 days, in 5 days, in 2 years, right? It needs to come in immediately. The way the transaction went immediately, any issues need to be resolved immediately and automatically. So we have to build the rails for those things to be reliable. And we have to reach people where they are, right? We've done a solid job with agent networks, but what more can we do, right? There's a lot of good stuff going on with one-off payments, but we know that we're in Lagos. There's a lot of services we have access to, right? There's a lot of things we enjoy because we basically can pay for them. There's people that are left out of these things that we enjoy. There's people that are left out of services because they can't pay for them, right? Because the payment channels basically are not at where they are. So we need to make sure we build products that actually reach people at where they are. And thirdly, the products have to be relevant. You can't give check to somebody that is on the road and expect them to just take it. That's technology that is not relevant to them, right? Technology that is more relevant to them, something that works fast, something that works in channels they're already used to. So we need to think clearly about rails that people remember, and also think about cases about where people know how to protect themselves, right? We've talked about security. A lot of security breaches are because of people are careless with data. How do you educate the common man on protection of data? How do you make sure he actually doesn't need to always keep it in his head? How do you make it simple enough and effective enough such that he enjoys the performance of the payment, he also enjoys the security that comes with it? So these three things, reliability, reach, and relevance, are critical to strengthen the rails that we have. And if we can get these things right, we can open up new frontiers, we can open up new ways that people can pay, and they can pay effectively. We see payment rails. We like to talk about dreams at TMAPT and MoneyPoint broadly. We like to think that every time you help somebody pay, every time you help a business earn, you're helping them get closer to their dream. I mean, part of the Nigerian dream, I like to think, is to get paid. Basically retire and just, do your work early, be done with it, 40, 50. I hope that's all our dream. We don't want to all work here at 70. So the point is, part of the dream is to get paid. And if the payment rails don't work, how can you get paid? It's literally ingrained in how everybody is expected to behave, how everybody wants to interact. Payment is at the core. It's no coincidence that a lot of the tech products you've seen are surrounded around payments. It's also no coincidence that some products would not exist if certain payment methods were not just there, right? So why are we always on the hunt for new ways to pay? Why are we always on the hunt for new channels? It's literally because we can open up new opportunities. We can expand the economy, quite literally. Imagine how you now save automatically, right? If the card methods were not safe, if all those methods of payments were not safe, if they were not reliable, would you have the behemoths you have now today, like Carrywise, PiggyVest? You wouldn't, right? So payment is at the center of what goes on in our tech ecosystem, and it drives our habits. It now drives our behaviors towards how we interact with money. So we are looking to develop more frontiers. We're looking to discover what are the ways people currently interact with money, or what are the ways people currently do business. How can we integrate payments in some of those methods and in some of those channels? Next slide. Sorry, don't stay there. Sorry, go back. So the first thing is the recurring economy, right? And something we've built is direct debit. Direct debit currently accounts for less than 1% of payments in Nigeria. And what does direct debit even mean? Today, when you want to pull payments, right, when a merchant wants to get payment from your bank, the most common way is to use a card, right? But cards have issues. It's very common for you to pay for your Netflix, and something goes wrong in 3 months' time. You no longer have access to Netflix. What if you could directly debit your bank, right? What if with MFA integrated, you give all the authorizations, you directly debit your bank, and you have the option to always cancel anytime, right? There's no time any card network or any middleman will ever come and interfere with your experience, right? We're hoping to bring this and make it popular in our ecosystem. And we've done that. We've worked with companies like Awaba, right? Awaba offers micro pension to people in rural areas. Their dream is simple. They want a case where in old age, nobody ever has to be stranded in old age. You've already accumulated your pension as you work. So how do they do this? They work with our network of POS agents, right? So we have terminals, like I said, all over Nigeria. Basically collect payments through the POS terminals, also collect it through our payment gateway, right? And now people are able to get pension, financial inclusion. Normally, pension usually required a more structured organization, which not everyone has access to, right? Even in Lagos, right? Only maybe people that work in Lekki, in VI, in Ikeja, in certain places have a structured pension plan. How many people that work in offices actually have a structured pension plan? How many people here know how their pension works? You know how much you have in your pension? You don't know, raise up your hand. Exactly, so that's the problem. So these people are actually trying to solve a very key problem that comes knocking on the door when you're tilting towards 40, 50. You don't have pension. Are you going to just hustle like that forever? You can't, right? You're supposed to be chilling with your grandkids. And our goal is to just open up more of these channels for businesses like this, businesses that have a vision. They've seen that this is a problem, this is a gap. This will drive financial inclusion in segments that we've not even thought of yet, but will somehow come back to catch us up, right? And we've basically exposed the rails for that. How can we strengthen those rails? How do we make it more reliable? How do we work with regulators to make sure that there's a standard to this, right? How do we make sure that if anybody wants to come into the market, right, there's a standard, there's security patterns, everything is in place to make sure that nothing goes wrong in achieving the dream of helping people achieve their micro pensions, of helping people basically get their pensions up, right? Another thing we're seeing is cross-border payments. It's been popular for a while now. But a lot of the messages have been around, how do you get Nigerians to pay merchants outside? But how do Nigerians get paid? Right? How can we simplify the rails? How can we make it so simple that getting paid from someone abroad is as easy as you paying somebody, right? From your money point to your OP or from your money point to your PAMP. How can we make it that simple, right? So that's what strengthening the rails is about. The simplicity, the reliability. How can we replicate that between borders? And we've done that. We've actually done that. Currently, Monify, the payment gateway on that team out, powers Money World, which is responsible for UK to Nigeria remittances. So we've seen that that works. And we are very open to making this much more applicable to other businesses that want to offer payments, that want to help Nigerians pay others. And lastly, AI and agentic systems. We see that more people are interacting on WhatsApp for payments. They're relying on WhatsApp for payments. They're relying on different channels for payments, right? How do we make sure that these channels are safe and secure? Because we know people are doing it today. The thing about innovation is that somehow the market signals that there's something going on. People start doing things. People start curating habits, and you're catching up, right? So instead of waiting to catch up. How do you build your rails to be ready for what is coming?
A round of applause for that exchanging baton. I'll need her name, of course. If you come here, you could tell us. Thank you very much. I was trying to look at and see what the statistics is like. I was told that instant payment transaction has risen by 120% in 2 years, according to the CBN. And in many African markets, mobile money platforms have created highly effective domestic payment rails that allow us, to store value, transfer funds locally seamlessly, as we have here in Nigeria. So to take us through the panel session, of course, to be moderated by a team up. Please, can we give her a round of applause? And I'll help you at least call on the guests so we can start off quickly. We hope that to join her here, we have 5 amazing speakers. Let's welcome Mr. Chika Nwosu, MD Palmpay Nigeria. Thank you very much, sir. Once again, you're welcome. We also have representative of SANEF to join them on the panel. Afian, National President, please join us also. And then we have the cooperatives also joining us. Thank you very much. It's complete? Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope we've been enjoying the session so far. So this panel session will be focused on how digital payment is a catalyst for financial inclusion in Nigeria. Starting off, we have seen the advancement of financial inclusion across Nigeria. Over the past 20 years, we've seen how a lot of Nigerians, over 30% of Nigerians, have had access to financial services. But despite this advancement, we've seen a considerable number of Nigerians still being excluded and underserved. So the question now remains, how do we ensure that digital payments within Nigeria is not just fair, but accessible to everyone? So we'll start off with our very first question for today's session. And it will be, what does fair digital payments mean to each one of us? So I'd like to go around. Each one of us has about 20 seconds to just answer. What does fair digital payments mean to us in a practical sense? Let's start off with Amban.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Because of our time, I think in just one sentence, any fair digital payment system that will drive financial inclusion should, anything that drive my economic growth, that is something that people want to buy into. Anything that doesn't have value, what is it bringing to my table, then there's nothing that you want to talk about it. Either you are a regulator, you ask, what is this thing is bringing to Nigeria? What is it bringing to the system? I am a platform owner. What is it bringing to you? That value driving is one of the fundamental things that it could bring everybody to participate, and then we increase, especially non-inclusive people, they can also join. We need to divide more value, then we get more people to be part of the system.
Yeah, okay. Good morning, everyone. For me, fair digital payment is a digital payment people can trust. Where you can put your money, you are sure that your money, nothing happens to it. When you make a transfer, you do a transactions, you are not worried about it. So for me, is any digital payment you can trust is a fair digital payment, because what people problem is, can we have a transaction with this platform? Can we put our money there? Can we have anything to do with this? So that, I think, that is the most important to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. I think from our point of view, fair digital payment really speaks to accessibility, speaks to the ability of that market woman to be able to use the platform without any hitch, or with minimal hitch, or rather without any hitch, really. Interoperability, not just one platform, but for the system not to work in silos, system to be able to collaborate in providing the end results. For me, for us, those are very critical points. Accessibility, interoperability, to a very great extent, the ability of the last mile, right, to be able to do do operations and get their transactions easily. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, all. Yeah, I bring greetings from the President of Association of Financial Inclusion, Agent of Nigeria. For us at AFIN, fair digital payment means that irrespective of anybody you are, you want to do a payment, you want to use the digital system without any problem. I'm a woman selling fish. I want to receive my money through my digital payment. It's direct. I want to pay my insurance. I don't have any issue of arbitration. I don't have anything disturbing me, irrespective of anywhere I am, either in the village or anywhere. And that is fair digital payment. So that there will be no problem. There will be inclusion, everyone. Just as our association has our motto, inclusion for empowerment. So everybody should be included in the system. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Mr. Majid.
Good afternoon, all. For us, fair digital payment has been explained that I don't think we need to belabor it. But one thing is certain, that it must be, to be fair, it must be trusted, and the economics for all parties must also be fair. And then all parties means the customer, the agent, the provider of the services, all of them. It must be profitable to all of them. And for us, that is fair digital payment. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, dear panelists. We've heard fairness includes trust, accessibility, transparency across all the payment rails that are involved in ensuring that the last mile is satisfied. Now, but we've also seen that since the advent of payment rails, we've seen that still we have a couple of Nigerians that are still being excluded from payment, from financial inclusion, as it were. So what exactly are we missing? Are we building for the wrong problems? What exactly, Mr. Chinedu? Oh, sorry, the VP of FinTech NGR. Do we have? Okay. Do we have the representative of SANEF?
Okay, so thank you very much. In that, guys, you're looking at the areas that have not been covered. And look, in every system, you always have improvements as it goes. Just as we speak to fair digital payments, you also need to understand that for you to have an end-to-end fair digital payment ecosystem, it must also be gender inclusive. So when you speak to areas that need to be improved on, we look at areas that have to do with understanding the system, understanding the laws that govern the system, and that speaks to things like financial literacy. So there must be enhanced financial literacy. So for example, you have regulations that have come out from the CBN that govern the CBN framework that speaks to agent banking, for example. The people must be able to understand, and when I mean the people, I mean the stakeholders who are in the ecosystem must be able to understand not just the implications or the sanctions, but also understand the importance of such regulations. Regulations are they are created, they are crafted to make the system better, right? But in the same way as that is the way it is, there is feedback before regulation is released, right? So those are some of the areas that you speak to. That ability to educate people, to create, like a forum like this is a very good platform to speak to people about those kind of laws, create financial literacy, that speak to every angle of such regulations, that speak to the role of every single person down to the last mile, the knowledge of the consumer to know your pricing, to know the knowledge that is contained in the rule that says, look, the consumer must also understand the charges you're giving them. Do they know
that those charges that have been impacted, are they aware about those charges? Do they know that they have a responsibility to know that they can open or not open an account? Those piles of grammar that is filled in an account opening form, do they understand them? Those are some of the issues that you have to embed in financial literacy when you speak to them. And that's just one of them. I'm sure my other panelists will speak a bit more on those issues. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. You spoke about pricing and ensuring that financial literacy covers what pricing should be so that the customers, the merchants, they understand what exactly it is that they're getting involved with. I can agree that every one of us has enjoyed, say, free transfer fees from certain industry players today. And it was very exciting knowing that we could leave the traditional banks and partner with this or work with this other institutions to ensure that, hey, my money is still safe and I can enjoy free transfer fees. Also, we also saw the introduction of free POS terminals for a couple of merchants within the payment space. But yes, while we know that free fees or zero fees were awarded to certain individuals, we also saw a reintroduction of these fees back into the ecosystem. So how do we actually ensure that sorry, let me take that again. How can we ensure that the current transaction fees are actually helping? Or can we say that the fees actually are helping or actually hurting financial inclusion within the payment space? Mr. Chika.
Okay. For us in Pampe, we are one of the people who offer free transfer to the public, to the consumers. But for us, just as I said at the beginning of this program, that what matters to the people, to the customers, to the consumers, to the merchants is trust. If people cannot trust your platform, they cannot do business with you. And secondly, why we offer free transfer is because we have looked at majority of our customers. Most of them are mainly the last mile. Majority are students. For someone like this guy from Timap, even 15 naira, 100 naira is nothing to him. But for a student in LASU, 1 naira, 2 naira, 10 naira is a whole lot of money to them. They can say, if I accumulate this money, I can use it to buy a recharge card for myself. So I think and I believe that the cost of transaction is also has a lot of effect in financial inclusion projects in Nigeria. It has a very, very serious effect. And again, how do you convince a woman in a rural community who she sells her agricultural products, she collects her money, put it by her bedside. On one day, you now onboarded her on a platform and you are telling her that before she buy a product that she's going to, there is a cost to that. How do you convince her that this is better than her keeping her money under her bed, where she will go to another place and use the money without any cost? So that is where the financial literacy program comes in place. You have to make her to understand the importance of onboarding her and all the benefits she's going to get if she's on that digital platform. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Chika. Also, to use the Association of Financial Inclusion Agents, we see that pricing also affects agents as well. So do you think that pricing should actually evolve?
Yeah, the price is also important. You can see before agents, especially mobile agents, agents using POS, before they will use anyone, they would like to know what are your charges, what is the capping. And at the same time, you see in this part of Africa, some people may be buying bread, for example, 1,900 at Ibeju. They may still go because of 100 naira go there, like what Mr. Chika said, 1 naira, 2 naira. Especially when we go to the aggregation, people want to know, okay, if I can have 50 naira per day, times so amount is something. So the pricing also matters. And like what you have said, we have discussed, financial literacy matters to our people. And that's part of what associations has been doing to make sure that don't just say that you are sitting back. You should also be part of it when we know about it. we're happy that the federal government is talking about 10 million Nigerians to be literate, financially literate, and which the association, many of us here also has been part of it since 2024 at the presidential filler when the ASO Accord was signed. So when the pricing is a right one for people, financial inclusion will be easier for everybody. And I'm happy we have our providers here too. We enjoy it when we have free transaction. You will see you make more, more sales because Nigerians like cheap things, and we also, I don't want to say I will because nobody should run belly. Something is happening now. So pricing is also important.
All right, thank you so much. That was really insightful. We're enjoying it so far. Thank you. So to our representative on the AMBAN side, your organization focuses on mobile money agents within Nigeria, ensuring that the last mile is actually provided for. So how do we actually ensure that while fintech growth is moving forward in Nigeria, how do we ensure that the market woman in Borno or the man that has a talk shop on your street that does not even have access to these services, how do we ensure that the rural communities are not left behind while financial technology is advancing?
Okay, thank you. I think if we go by history, and I think coming from 2012, the most driver and the critical success factors of any stories we are telling in Nigeria today are the agents. If you want to see any success story on your street, on your farm, in anywhere you go, maybe you go to Oyo State, for example, you go to Shaki. And then from Shaki, you go to Okerete. From Okerete, you just want to go to the Republic of Benin. That place now, you cannot see, you will travel almost 2 hours or 3 hours. No banks. But I can tell you today, you can do transaction there. If there have not been those agents, what stories of 74% financial inclusion in Nigeria today might be at the hands of the former people, the educated people, the people in the urban areas. And it's because of these people that we're able to achieve this. They use personal integrity, they use their assets, find the players, our principals are here now. The Pampe is here, the team up is there. But no matter how you say this, they cannot travel from here to maybe Kafansha now, or that Borno that you are talking about. Or maybe you want to go to Rumba in Anambra State, right? All these places that I'm talking about, they don't have a bank, right? In Kano State, almost like 24 or 23 local governments does not have bank at all. Then it is the people like the agents that were able to drive this. Answering your question straight, if whatsoever we achieve today, we remove the agent part of it to drive it, we might not be able to do it. Even in the street of Lagos, right? In the street of Lagos, in our market, if there's no POS, you just go to maybe Balogun markets now. As it's big, we have a lot of bank there, right? But if you want to do transfer, you say there's a POS there. That means the impact of an agent cannot be overemphasized. The impacts that have brought to us, we cannot close our eyes. We have to say kudos to them. We're even proud to say that I didn't believe there's no agent that started to collect POS from the fintech because the banks are not even thinking that this thing is going to work. We know how many banks that we pitch then that we have to talk to them. They will say it's not going to be possible. And then we have to go to the fintech listings, we engage together, and then they brought it. And then the individual use their personal integrity, and then that's how we expand it. To me, agent is still a critical part, and then we still need to do more. Are we doing better? To me, as far as Nigeria, we are not doing worse. We should celebrate ourselves because having 74 financial inclusion is not small. In US, UK, Indians, that they have large numbers. They are around 80, 90 financial inclusion, meaning that we are not doing bad, but is that the areas that we need to do better? I think that's what this forum comes from. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Please, a round of applause for him, please. He actually really touched on the importance of agency banking and those agents, because typically Before now, you would have to actually go to a bank, sit in the bank for a couple of hours before you get attended to, before you even get cash, before you're able to make transfers. But on your street, I'm pretty sure a lot of us can agree, on our street, you can see 4 to 5 agents there, ready to help us to get cash, to help us pay our bills, or assist us with any other financial activity we might want to engage in that we might not be privy to, maybe because of we don't have the right smartphones that help us, download the applications and all of that. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, so also we remember that while the keynote speaker was on here, he touched on trust, digital trust, and we see that fraud. Right? He actually he was political with his answer. He said, we've lost a lot because of fraud. Right? So we see that fraud and mistrust of the systems has been a major obstacle within the ecosystem. So how can we actually ensure that we are protecting our consumers, the users of these services, without actually slowing down innovation? Mr. Chika.
Thank you very much. Actually, you can never take away this issue from our business. And for us in Pampe, we have done a lot of things. We are using technology to control fraud. We have been able to bring it into our platform different kind of fraud monitoring tool, transaction monitoring tool. We also use AI to, checkmate the system. Let me give you, for instance, if you have an account on a Pampe platform and maybe you do a transaction weekly of maybe like 50,000, 100,000. So the system already knows this. Just like that, we see a transaction going out of 1 million naira from your account. That money will not go. It will want like authentication. Ask some more questions before that kind of money can go. That is one part. Then on another part is, you are the kind of person, everybody, not just me, you normally transfer money to your mother, to your father, to your wife, to your children, and the rest. And this has happened with maybe like 6 months. The system has already seen this. Then one day, your account, about 2 million naira you have in account, is moving to an account you have never transferred for. It will definitely notify you. So these are the things we have done to bring in trust, for our users, to make them feel more comfortable to do business with us. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Asana, do you have any additions?
Yes, I think that just to buttress a bit more to what Mr. Chika has said, I think that the role of the regulator is also crucial. There are laws governing certain layers of transaction that the players need to also align to. Don't forget that those laws are made to help to strengthen the system, where you have laws that speak to 2-factor authentications, 3-factor authentications before certain transactions are done. There are also steps that are taken by the regulators, the critical stakeholders like NIBS, for example, when it comes to such situations where certain transactions cannot go through except certain confirmations are received. But above and beyond that, when it comes to situations such as cyber crimes, cyber security issues, and fraud, it is important to trust the system that you absolutely use. And that's where collaboration is very critical. The players have to talk to themselves at every point in time, right? The banks need to speak to each other. The fintechs need to speak to the banks. That conversation, that handshake, to a very large extent, is what will help to stemify such situations. And that's me speaking from the human angle now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Ambani, you have a brief addition.
Thank you very much. I think in this area, it's, to me and to the Amban, I think there's a lot of things that we have not done to help the consumers. And I'll start from the agent to consumer. We have done very well in the industry the regulators has, in the last 1 year or 2 years, the CBN has stepped up very, very well. None of us in the industry would know that they have come up and then we are growing. The platform are also doing fine. But there's one area that we need to, if we don't want to lose the trust, is that imagine that all of us, I think the MC makes those comments, that when I have a chargeback today, and that woman, let's forget about maybe you are educated or you are not educated, you have a chargeback problem on both the innovative platform and the traditional conventional bank. It becomes a problem to get this money out. By regulators, they have the time frame that within 48 hours, 72 hours, this thing should be done, or 14 days, depends on the problem. But you think that these things take forever. How do we solve it? And that customer does not have ability to see SANEF. He does not have ability to see Twitters. I know somebody talks about Twitters. He cannot. People have lost money to this process. Let us be sincere with ourselves. And then we need to, apart from that, we're working on the digital part of it, the regulators part of it, the platform part of it. I think there's a lot to do to the customers to bring that trust more. Because if I lost my money, many people have lost money through this one. We're talking about charges. There's a lot of platforms that are taking a lot of unnecessary charges. We know there are some platforms that are giving free. But how today, I think in this forum, if there's something that, how can non-educated customers lodge his or her disputes? And this will be sorted out without victimization. When I say victimization, it's not that any platform will shout, but without giving that woman in that village a serious problem. I think it's a serious concern that we need to look. And I think the AMBAN has done something in recent time, like in the last 1 month or 2 months. We want to take some things up because it is a people that we need to do it. Sometimes when we are waiting for the government cannot do everything. Platform might not even know that is happening. And I think one of the things that the AMBAN is doing now is that we will start calling to consumers to give their consent. Write your name, tell us what's the problem. Let's take it up and take it to the bank. Let's take it to the platform because we cannot because sometimes they don't know. Sometimes they don't know that people doesn't have access to this. And I think from the SANEF, I think we need to try as much as possible that we look at how we can make agents to be helping us to solve some problem. Not everything, but maybe like disputes, maybe like something that will help us to scale the industry. Because of time, I think there's a lot to do in other areas, but people are lost. They have lost a lot of things in that directions, and then we need to look at it. And I think that is a big trust to Nigeria. And that's why people will have different platforms. We have this one, you drop it. And then it's a lot of things that we need to do. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. We would love to continue the conversations because we know that there is a wealth of knowledge sitting with us on the podium today. But unfortunately, we would have to, bring these conversations to an end. But yeah, one of the take-homes we want to, point to is that, yes, digital payments in Nigeria actually still has a lot more that we can do. Payment actually is not the destination, but our final destination is such that every Nigerian is treated fairly within the payment space, has access, and can trust the ecosystem at large. Thank you so much.
Let's have the pictures with the panelists. Thank you very much, Wana Enang of Team App, for moderating this session very brilliantly. Can we give her another round of applause? All right, MD Pompey, please.
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, the organizers of Payment Forum Nigeria. Thank you for being consistent. I think this is your 3rd year, and you have been doing it consistently. We were here last year, and we're also here today. Yeah, you will always have our support. I promise you this. Without wasting your time, just as the MC said, I will be talking about embedded finance in Africa. powering payments where people live, work, and trade. Because definitely payments has to do with people, their work, and also their businesses. So the story of finance in Africa is not just about innovation. It is about solving real, everyday problems. A few years ago, financial exclusion was a major barrier across Africa. As recently as 2017, only about 43% of adults in sub-Saharan Africa had access to formal financial services, according to the World Bank in Nigeria. That gap was even more pronounced, with millions of adults excluded from the formal financial ecosystem. For the financially included Nigerians, there were challenges of network downtime, failed transactions, and overall delay in banking system. This is the reason why, people like us, PAMPay, came into the picture in 2019. Because after 2019, the failure rate is over 10%. And currently, you people know if you are using PAMPay, you are sure of 99.95% success rate. That is where embedded finance comes in. Embedded finance is not about building more apps. It is about embedding payments and financial services directly into the platform people already use and trust, making transactions seamless, instant, and fast-paced. In Nigeria, when you see the volume of smartphones users, you begin to see just how many people can be brought into the financial system just by downloading an app. The smartphone is the first step into the financial system. So it is imperative to build payment platform that works with smartphone. Our economy is driven by small businesses and informal trade. The World Bank estimates that the informal sector contributes over 80% of employment and more than half of our GDP across sub-Saharan Africa. The market woman, the POS agent, the ride-hailing driver, the online vendor, these are real engines of growth. And for them, finance must meet them where they are. At PAMPay, this has been a core focus. We have built infrastructure that delivers reliability at scale because trust is everything. When users know that a transaction will unfairly go through at 99.95% transaction success rate, adoption follows. When users know that real human terms are behind every transaction, working to fight fraud before it happens, they must stay with you. But beyond infrastructure, we have focused on integration through our vast agent network of over 500,000 agents. We have taken financial services to the last mile. And through data and AI, we are personalizing financial experience while strengthening security and fraud protections. This is embedded finance in action, not as a concept, but as a daily reality. And the impact is clear. We are not just increasing transaction volumes. We are improving cash flows for small businesses. We are creating jobs. We are building resilience into the digital economy. And most importantly, evolving from merely driven financial inclusion to a meaningful usage. But there is still more to be done. To fully unlock embedded finance across Nigeria and Africa, we must focus on these three things. The first of it is reliability at scale. Trust is the foundation, just as we have been saying here today. And without it, adoption cannot grow. Nobody can put his money where he cannot trust. You can't put your money where you put your money today. Tomorrow, you hear there is a breach and your money is gone. Deep ecosystem integration. Finance must live inside marketplace, rural communities, and platforms, not outside them. It must reflect the way users actually live and earn, conveniently, frequently, and in a small amount. Number 3, accessibility. Whether through agents, mobile access, or no user should be left behind, because ultimately, success is not just when people download your app. Success is when users no longer need to think about payment at all. When a trader in a remote market can transact with the same speed and confidence as a corporate executive in Lagos, then we have truly succeeded. That is the future we are building at Pampe. Thank you very much, and God bless every one of you.
Thank you very much. Can we give Pampe another round of applause? All right, we're moving quickly. We still have more time to save. And the next item will be a fireside chat by Lagos Blockchain, the Lagos Blockchain Week session. And I saw my big brother earlier. I will call on Victoria Igbanugo, the marketing lead of the Lagos Blockchain Week, to do the introductions, and then we want to crave her indulgence that ensure that the session does not exceed 15 minutes. Thank you very much. I know it's going to be, the Lord is your strength. Can we give her another round of applause?
Okay. Oh, thank you. Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My first panelist is no other person than the man who drives ecosystem growth for Solana, the world's third largest crypto ecosystem in Africa. People are not clapping as the Nigerian lead for Super Team, a global community of founders, software developers, and creatives building innovative projects on the Solana blockchain across 20 plus countries. He's no other than Dr. Harrison Obiefle. Please, a round of applause for him. All right, thank you. The second panelist is the ecosystem lead for Africa at LISC. She drives network adoption and connects founders with the tools, resources, and support needed to launch and scale. She's no other than Chidubem Emelomadu. Please, a round of applause. The next on the list is the lead partner of Infusion Lawyers and founding trustee of the Virtual Asset Service Providers Association, no other than Senator Ehem. Please, a round of applause. The next panelist is Mr. Chukwuemeka Enoch Mbebie. He's the ecosystem lead of Ethereum Nigeria and the convener Lagos Blockchain Week, and also the lead of Nigeria Blockchain Week. Please, a round of applause for him. The next panelist is Mr. Bello Opeyemi, an award-winning senior software engineer with 7+ years of experience building scalable fintech, health tech, and enterprise solutions across Africa and international markets. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you. The last but not the least panelist we have is, he's representing the CEO, actually. He is Israel Agom, growth lead of Paycrest. He's actually representing the CEO and the co-founder of Paycrest, and he's building decentralized payment infrastructure to expand access to more and faster open financial systems across Africa and other frontier markets. Please, a round of applause as he comes in. A round of applause. Don't tell me you're tired. All right. Nigeria is number 1 in global USDT and USDC ownership. And we know that nearly $22 billion in stablecoin transactions is done in 1 year. But yet, millions are still outside the financial system. And stablecoins still require a smartphone, internet, and some literacy. So it begs the question, Are we building for the underserved or the people already conversant with stable coins as a payment rail? And that's why I love the takeaway from the previous panel session that we just listened to about fairness and trust, which will help boost payments in Nigeria and Africa at large. So, Dr. Harry, this question is for you. Under your stewardship, Super Team helped Solana secure the #1 spot in Africa for overall developers, and you have launched Nigeria's first blockchain course for young people through the whole Ministry of Youth and the Nigerian Youth Academy. And that tells me that you have the youth at heart, and that's very beautiful because the future belongs to them, right? But let's zoom out for a second. Nigeria is #1 in global stablecoin ownership. Is that something to genuinely celebrate, or is it a sign that we are simply running away from the Naira?
Yeah, because we don't have time, so I'm going to be very fast with my responses. Two truths can coexist, right? The reason why people are actively looking for options so they can hedge against inflation, the reasons are very obvious, right? You store Naira and you lose some value within a few days, and how unstable it is, right? So on the one hand, people are, yes, moving into stable coins for the obvious reasons. On the other hand, I think the best to look at it is how can we productivize and institutionalize stable coins, right? Stable coins are is not the enemy of the Naira, right? People are already adopting it, whether you like it or not. The Igbo men in Alaba and in Lagos Island are already transacting via stable coins. It already exists. Nigeria is one of the largest, if not the largest, adopter of stablecoins. So the question that we should be asking ourselves is, how then do we embed sort of our national policies, regulations into stablecoins? How then do we make it our own? Right? That is why I'm big on initiatives like CNGN, which is a Naira stablecoin, right? So that's a question we should be asking ourselves and not trying to antagonize stablecoin as a concept or as a currency.
Yeah, I love that particular instance because I can recall when Speed came to Nigeria, and when he made payments in stablecoin, everybody was very happy with the development, so that's very lovely. And thank you so much for that. The next question is to Senator Iheyen. You have been at the forefront of virtual asset regulation in Nigeria, actively pushing for the recognition and acceptance of crypto within our financial system. In 2021, the CBN directed banks to cut ties with crypto-linked accounts. Then, in December 2023, they released a framework to regulate the same space. What changed? What actually brought the CBN to the table?
Thank you very much. What changed is that CBN's visibility changed. What changed is that regulatory pressure from the global platform also changed. I'll explain what that means. Before the ban, there was a relationship directly between banks, financial institutions generally, and the crypto players, such as the exchanges and crypto wallets. And so when transactions were happening, it was basically easy for a law enforcement agency to call a Binance or call a Quidax or any of those ones and say, we're investigating this, give us data. After that ban, that was no longer possible. There was no longer visibility because people moved from the central platforms to what you call peer-to-peer platforms. P2P basically is outside of the regulatory space. It grew underground. As a matter of fact, according to a Chainalysis report, mid-2022 to mid-2023, Nigeria's peer-to-peer markets in crypto outgrew that of Vietnam, India, and others to become #1 in the world during this time. and about $56 billion had been transacted. So what changed is that CBN needed to have visibility over these transactions. So there was need to then regulate the sector rather than ban. Secondly, the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, even if the CBN was thinking otherwise, was now forced to look at that again because the FATF was saying as long as that was going on and as long as there was no regulation, Nigeria will remain in the gray lists. Now, to get Nigeria out of the gray list, we must introduce crypto regulations. So in December 2023, I think it was 3 days to Christmas, when CBN introduced that VASP guidelines, the Virtual Asset Service Providers guidelines, just to ensure that going forward, the CBN will have visibility over these things. And lastly, because of our time, tax revenue. As long as you ban crypto in the financial services industry, you will be unable to effectively tax that industry. So the CBN had to look at it, the SEC, now the NRS, all needed to look at it again and say, for us to be able to legally tax these people, it has to be legitimized and also formalized. And that brought about all the tax laws you're seeing today, which now recognizes crypto as an asset. And also the Investment and Securities Act 2025, recognizing crypto as an asset, a security, so to speak. So that's what changed. Has it changed anything in terms of trust that people have? Not really. There's still a large level of trust deficit in the space. That's because people have moved away from, okay, it's no longer a ban, but people are very cautious and skeptical about what the government will do tomorrow. If you look at it very closely, I realized that whenever there was an FX instability issue in our financial sector, the CBN would usually react. And when it reacts, it looks for those it believes might have been culprits, and then it takes action all over again. Look at what happened in 2024 when arrests were going on. I run a law firm, and we were helping a lot of our builders, who were building and trying to make things happen. A number of them also had to face prosecution, arrest, because they were alleged to have manipulated the Nigerian currency, the naira. So these things were basically part of a larger misconception and misunderstanding about crypto and what it was really about. Like my brother was saying, rather than antagonize stablecoin adoption, why don't you try to understand it? And this is why I'm happy to note here that the central bank is also now looking at possibly regulating stable coins so that they can be safely adopted in the financial system. Thank you.
I mean, please, a round of applause for him. That's a very welcome development because I love that you also mentioned trust, because that's why people are not really so much okay with what's going on, right? But the fact that the CBN is now fully interested is a very beautiful thing, because it will now make the youth in particular to be relaxed and feel safe, because we see a lot of hacks recently in the space where there's so much going on. So that would really be a very a good initiative for them to comment for. So thank you for that. The next question is to Chidubem. She just stepped in while we're having the speech. Welcome. You have led communication for Africa at Binance, the world's largest crypto exchange, and you currently serve as the ecosystem lead for Africa at Lisk. Wow, that's a power woman. That means you have seen this industry from both the infrastructure side and the market side. So I want your honest take. Nigeria processed a lot of dollars. We are talking about 22 billion in stablecoin transactions between 2023 and 2024. And the naira is still under pressure. So between stablecoins or CBDCs, which one truly moves West Africa forward on payments?
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that introduction, and thank you for the question. CBDCs or stablecoins, which truly moves West Africa forward in terms of payments? Honestly, I think your question sort of already answered it. So I don't think it's a fair fight. I think stablecoins are already leading, right? And there are reasons why. When Nigeria sort of piloted the e-Naira, which is a CBDC, so I guess the difference there is that the CBDC is owned and run by the central bank, right? But the issue there is that one of the reasons why stablecoins are stablecoins today is that they improve on the financial infrastructure gaps that we have, right? They don't just put that on chain. So when you're referring to CBDCs, now I'm using e-Naira as a specific example here, just because we're speaking to Nigeria. It was siloed, right? It is programmable, sure, but it still needs to be able to interact with global rails. It needs to be interoperable with like different chains, different currencies for it to sort of make sense. And that wasn't the case with e-Naira as a specific case study for CBDCs. I think with stable coins, what we're seeing and why it's sort of winning in that case and why it has done $22 billion in 2023, 2024, like you said, is that there are a lot of issues that you have with the financial infrastructure, right? For example, there's incredible fragmentation. All of us here work in, financial services, so you sort of know the fragmentation across, even just like bringing it to the continent, where simply to move money from Nigeria to Ghana, you have to go through all these correspondent banks and all of that. And stablecoins solve on that, right? Bringing it down to like even the individual. I get paid in stablecoins, and sometimes you get asked, okay, do you want to get paid in fiat or do you want to get paid in stablecoins? It's a no-brainer because one, the time, like I can receive my payments immediately, no fees, I off-ramp it, all of that. But if I have to get paid maybe in the US dollar, they'll tell me T plus whatever days, I have to pay this amount of fees, all of that. And that's just on the individual level. Now, a lot of the stable coins that have been moved are actually being moved by businesses, right? Not even actually individuals. I know a lot of people speak about, inflation and devaluation. And while all of that is true, the people that are actually moving the volumes with regards to stable coins are actually the businesses, right? Businesses who want to make payments to, China, right? Because they're, participating in that corridor. A lot of that is being moved through stable coins because one, you have the dollar liquidity. So in addition to cost and speed, which everybody talks about, there's also access and there's also liquidity, right? Where Nigerians, so you sort of know all the different caps sometimes that are placed on, okay, you can't move, your cap for the month, maybe it's $10,000, just as an example. You don't have all of that with stable coins, right? So businesses who want to move, I don't know, $10 million today, to their beneficiaries somewhere across the world, it is literally the cheapest and the easiest way to move it is through stablecoins, right? You don't sort of have that with a lot of CBDCs because a lot of CBDCs are built mostly for, yes, financial inclusion, but also transparency and control, and they sort of work within like siloed walled gardens of, the particular country. So I don't think that they have solved it as well as stablecoins have, which is why personally I think a lot of the, like what is the best case scenario, having like regulatory frameworks that actually ensure that the government of whatever country still has access to that data. There's still transparency, there's still some controls, but still allowing the technology, to innovate as freely as it can under private players. I think a local stablecoin like CNGN is a good example, right? It's been built by, a private team, but now they're licensed by, the regulators here. They're currently in a pilot as well that allows them to work a bit closer. And they still are able to, it's still a lot more interoperable. They can access global rails, they can interact with global rails and all of that. So anyway, long story short is that I definitely think that stablecoins are the way to go, but like there still needs to be some regulation around like issuance and reserves and all of that versus CBDCs, just because like it doesn't build on the financial infrastructure gaps that we have as well as stablecoins do.
Yeah, you're very right. And I see a lot of potential in stablecoins. Please, a round of applause for her. A round of applause. I love everything she said. She was just on point. there are lots of, a lot of potential in stable coins, and it's something that we should embrace. Yes, because when you touched on the pay aspect, because when you get your pay and it's in stable coins, it's very swift and fast and easy. Yeah. But when it's coming with the whole local currency, like in US dollars, it's slow and all of that. And that makes me want to ask Mr. Bello Opeyemi. The next question is for you. Can stable coins power that experience, for the market trader in Balogun or the average Nigerian? Or do you think it's still years away? Please give me.
Good afternoon. The short optimistic answer is yes, but the real answer is it depends, right? Because it depends on adoption. And the biggest driver of adoption is less friction to change. And the biggest friction to change is the ability or the inability to answer the question, why? Why should I change? And like Dr. Harrison said, if we get to the point where people understand it more, and like the senator said, and then they begin to trust it more, then there will be adoption. If there is adoption, people understand it, they adopt it, there's no reason why Yaweru or Madam Chinedu will not use the stablecoin in Balogun, because everybody wants to get their money, and they would look for more ways to get the money. I remember at the beginning at the beginning of introduction of POS systems, the adoption rate wasn't fast, but the moment the trust was overcome, then the speed of adoption increased. So the moment we're able to get to a point where understanding happens, trust happens, adoption will happen, and that's what we need to aim for.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Please, a round of applause for him. Now we'll go to Mr. Enoch. I'm actually rushing because we don't have time. So you are the convener of Lagos Blockchain Week with experience hosting events and hackathons, both here in Nigeria and abroad. These conversations that we are having here, it can't just live on panels, like this one. They need builders, regulators, and operators in the same room, working through them. At Lagos Blockchain Week this July, what is a conversation the ecosystem keeps avoiding that we are finally going to have? Please give me the mic.
Yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, it's been a very wild time we've been having here, learning from Dr. Senator and co. Lagos Blockchain Week happening in July. With what we've learned from all the speakers here, we'll be inviting every one of them. We'll be having their support this July, and we'll be having the full support. So what we're looking at is to iterate more with these guys. We want to see how we could expand our talent retention in Nigeria. We want to see how we've been having like a lot of talent, shipping. We discover talent. In a few months, they're away from the country. We want to see how we could have a lot of retention back home here. We want to see how we get more of this, a lot of industrial players already. We're already working with the Ministry of Culture, Tourism. We're working with NIDA as well. A lot of the federal government are involved in this, and even the state government as well. So we'll be having a lot of enterprise conversation. We'll be looking at, again, in terms of talent adoptions, and Harry is doing a good work with Super Team. Likewise, Chidevame and some of my colleagues that run. I also lead the Ethereum community as well. So we've been doing a lot of talent, growth, adoptions. So we've seen a lot of this from the Ministry of Culture, Tourism. There's this sandbox project we're working with together with them. We want to see how some of the talent, some of the hackers, builders who will be coming around, exploring the opportunities in this field as well. So we'll be unboxing as we get close to the date. We'll be unveiling a lot of based on your questions, I won't want to unveil anything right now until it's confirmed and sealed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please clap for him. From what he said, it means that a lot will be happening that day, and the date is July 13th to 19th. So yeah, let us keep that in mind. Thank you so much, Mr. Enoch. So the last question that we have is to Israel Agom, who is representing the CEO of Paycrest. He's a growth lead of Paycrest as well. So with what we've said so far, what is that one change, whether it is a policy, a product, or a process that can really move financial inclusion in Nigeria in the next 2 years?
Personally, I think more clarity around stablecoins regulation. I think he said something around it. We have lots of platforms building rails that can help money conversion between stablecoins and the fiat system. Because personally, I think that they kind of work together, and there needs to be a way where we can promote and encourage builders to freely enter into these spaces without feeling scared, and also understanding how things run. So I think more clarity around that area would be very helpful, and education also a bit, because we get to see a lot of hackathon projects coming up, and when you talk to them, when you talk to the builders, you get to see that they understand cryptographic primitives, but they really don't know much around GRC. They don't know what will happen if they do what. They don't understand, are they filing payments details, what they're filing it to, all these things around money transfer, global money mover. You need to understand these things. So education also will play a very good role in making sure things open up. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. The topic that we actually delved into is orchestrating a unified payment trail for West Africa. And the takeaway for this session is that we are now embracing stable coins, which would be a very good development for Nigeria. And we should no longer antagonize, like that word that Dr. Harry used. I love it. We should no longer antagonize stable coins, but rather embrace it, just like the CBN is now embracing stable coins, and which will also help us to move digital payments, and also literacy, because if we want to build trust in our country, we need to go first with education. That would enlighten people more to know what we want them to embrace. Thank you so much. I remain your moderator, Victoria Iwanugo, and see you at Lagos Blockchain Week in July. This is just a sneak peek and our road tour. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Can we have the picture session? She almost sounded like NTA News. I love it. Thank you very much. We have to come down because of the, yes. Let's have that very quickly, and then the conveners, please join.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, good afternoon. So,
Good afternoon.
my name is Oluwadamlola once again, and from my Itura. My Itura means my comfort. And what we do at my Itura is to ensure that every household can access quality healthcare, irrespective of where they are. Imagine, I wouldn't know how many of us can actually attest to the fact that maybe how many of us here have, at one point, you're sure you're satisfied with the quality of health services you've received in Nigeria so far? Thus far, how many?
Not much.
End to end. So basically, what we are solving at Maitura, we are actually building digital tools that allows for individual to get the care they need from the comfort of your home. So meaning from your house, you can actually book consultations, speak with a doctor over your phone rather than walking down to the hospital. Some people can actually be down at home and then you don't have the strength to go. And then you are just trying to just manage rather than doing over the counter, you can actually speak with a doctor on our platform when you sign up on the platform. Also, on the platform, you can also, please next slide. Okay. Also on the platform, you can also speak with, book a test. So I'll just quickly run through the my presentation now, and what we do basically. So we can only, like I said earlier, healthcare in Africa does not feel, not because there is no demand, but because the system is actually not is structurally broken. And this is because it is not well, there is no interoperability between all healthcare providers. I imagine when I was pregnant, actually, and I had some complications, I couldn't use an hospital close to my place because they didn't have my medical record. They didn't have my medical history, so I had to go down to the hospital I used when I was a child. And that made the pregnancy journey very, very difficult for me, meaning I had to travel down and all. And also, it was also expensive because I needed to also travel down, and also to some unforeseen expenses came up. So yeah, today we are talking about medullobumbar mytura. What is medullobumbar mytura? Now the thing is what came up, what brought this up is because a lot of patients pay out of pocket. A lot of emergency issues comes up, and most of us are not prepared for some of these expenses. So patients usually lose continuity of care because of payment due to lack of payment cost, and also to a lot of healthcare providers also loses liquidity because patients are owing them money, and they also can also give the care that they need as well. According to data, 1 in every 22 pregnant women actually die during childbirth. When I was giving birth to my child, I can categorically tell you that almost 5 emergencies were brought in that night. And that's because some of them are not even prepared for what happened. Some people wanted a normal delivery, but then again, eventually, they end up going through the CS. How do they fund the money? Then they start calling friends and family. They start looking for money up and down and all that. But this is what, please the next slide, please. Yeah. So in Nigeria alone, like I said, 1 in every 22 Nigerian women actually die from during childbirth, and this shouldn't be. And that's because some of them lack the financial strength to make that happen. Next slide. But we can actually prevent this because with proper planning and proper understanding of what is available, this can actually be preventable. So what is the mytura intervention? That's where we are going to. What are we proposing at mytura? So mytura, we are bringing Medulone. Medulone is a care now and pay later platform that allows, the next slide, that allows people to get the care they need while they pay us over a period of time. And this platform has been made to allow for them to pay to receive the care they need now and also pay over a period of time. This way, the provider, that means the healthcare provider, the hospital, get the money they need to ensure that they keep running and that the patient get the money, the treatment that they need. What this does in terms of driving fairness in health, please next slide. What this does is it's actually eliminates collateral, whereby we don't actually request for collateral. Most fintech also don't request for collateral. Then also there is also the speed of time in the way we also disburse the money. And when the money is disbursed, there's also speed in care that the patient is going to receive. Now, this way, there is no delay in care. And that's the aim of what we are trying to achieve. We've seen people come on our platform. They will come on our platform, they want to book a test. But when some of them see the prices, they will go back. I went to the hospital one time, and I was hearing the attendant was telling a woman, you were here last week, now what happened? They asked to do some tests. She said I didn't have the money. And in my head, I'm like, you don't have the money to run a test, and you had to go for 1 week, and then you're just coming back. She has children. I really felt so bad for her. But these are the kind of people that actually need the truth of the matter is you can't delay your health. That's just one thing. But then again, a lot of people have the money. They might not have the immediate money, but they can always get the money. And this is what the MediLoan would do. So we've built the platform to be inclusive. Currently, people can sign up on the platform. People can access the platform. I don't want to waste so much time. So the next slide as well. How does it work? Let's go to how does it work. Oh, let me just quickly explain that. Sorry, the previous, let me just quickly explain it. So how does it work? So the platform works in the sense that when people sign up on the platform, there's a way we verify. We've actually integrated with a third party where we verify their information, and also we do, there's also automated payment as well. And also we also ensure that all the information submitted are actually correct. So the next slide, how does it work? So when a patient will need to access care, visit a facility, a physical facility, and they don't have the money to pay. So what we do is they come on the platform, which is loans.myturas.com, and then they apply for a loan. So when we receive the application, we verify that the information they've given are correct. We then actually also confirm from the hospital that they are visiting that they are also there. Then we then disburse the money. We approve the loan, and then disburse directly to the hospital. We don't give the money to the patient because of diversion of funds. We don't want that. But then again, this also will extend the care that they are also getting from the hospital as well. And there are other ways for people to actually use the platform. So for some, they have a smartphone, so they can use the website, they can download the app. But there are some people, another way we've actually ensure inclusion is that now people with a phone, without an Android phone, can also use the platform by dialing this USSD code. So this way, we've actually found a way to ensure that anyone can actually access the platform. So when they dial that code, *347*934#, they can actually proceed, and then they will get a follow-up call from someone. Also, we also have agents who are going into these rural areas to speak with these people, to meet with them, to meet with people in some of these underserved areas, to also speak with them about what the platform does. So the next slide, please. I think I'm almost done. Yeah. So that's just a brief step of how the first one, you visit the hospital, verification process, which takes within max 24 hours. Once it's approved, and then we disburse, and then also payment is spread over 3 to 6 months, whichever the applicant wants, and then we follow up with the repayment. The hospital is not involved in the repayment, basically, so we just make sure that the patient actually, our aim is to ensure that the patient get the care they need, they also get the liquidity they need to run, and then everyone is happy. And so the next slide. So these are the dashboard, the landing page of our page so you just go to sign up or log in. The next page, the next slide. So that's just a simple screenshot of how the platform looks. And yeah, I think the next slide, I think we're almost done. So these are our partners. So we are currently, these are our partner, CC of DSN, Data Science Nigeria, Digital Impact Alliance, and Pathways that we are working with as well. Then we also have some healthcare providers on our platform that we work actively with. We have, okay, I think the next slide will show that. Okay, no, not really. Okay, it's not here. So we also have a lot of other healthcare providers on our platform that we work with, and we disburse directly to them. The next slide. Okay. So these are some of our screenshots that the people we've worked with and also onboarded on the platform. We've seen people, currently we are working with Ibijola Medicals, where the help pregnant women to access the care they need, both antenatal and also postnatal. And yeah, we've seen people who've also used our platform to get the care they need. We had one where a woman just gave birth. She had given birth, she was fine, but then again, she needed urgent money because she had planned her delivery basically, which was good. But then again, something came up and the child needed she needed a postnatal care, basically. So, yeah, the child to be in a neonatal clinic again, and she didn't have the money. So she had to reach out to us, and we had to give the fund for that. And so that's what we do at MyTura. So we are not just digitizing the healthcare platform, we are also financing the future. We are looking forward, and this is what we are actually doing to ensure that everyone can access, not just for the rich, but not just for the rich or those who can afford it, but for everybody. Because healthcare is very important. Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you very much. I know you have a whole lot for us. It's basically, accessing healthcare now and paying later. That's amazing. Trust me, aside food, clothing, shelter, healthcare is another essential services that Nigerians need. And most times when you hear statistics of, mortality rate and all of that, is because basically people do not have money to access such services as at the time that it's needed. So MyItura is something that has come to stay, and we say congratulations and thank you for that. For more inquiries, you can still meet up. She's the team lead, so she's here. She can take all the decisions she wants to take, all the partners she wants to absolve. She's the operations lead at MyItura, Oluwadamilola Ogunwale. The next thing we're having now is a town hall, but this one is different from Balabu. It's because it's going to last for just 2 minutes. And who is leading this town hall meeting? It's none other. That's what you put here. You don't put town hall. Please, let's give it up for Dr. Obio Haoti, AMBA National President, on the state of agency banking in the financial inclusion system. It's a town hall. It's a 3 minutes town hall.
See Nigeria now. I don't know how we do a town hall meeting and they will not say 1 minute, 2 minutes. But I will try as much as possible. And then thank you everyone. I bring the good greetings of Dr. Oti Obia, the National President of the Association of Mobile Money and Bank Agents in Nigeria. Yusuf Adeyemo, the National Vice President. Amban has been a force when how will I put that one? People that doesn't have voice. Amban become the voice of these voiceless people. Amban has stayed over the years, and I think I'm very glad that I'm seeing this platform is doing 3.0. I'm happy that Amban, just last year, we did 10 years. And we did the 9th conference at Gombe in the Northeast. I look up the day, maybe the next time, the Pafon chairman, Pafon chairman, I look up, you say, because this is a town hall meeting, and we are not here to speak grammar. Yes, we are here to speak what will promote us and get us better. We also want to say that Amban is ready to support and to challenge us that we should not, this is our event, let's take it out of Lagos as well. It has been very impactful, and I will say the reason why. One of the major things that we have a trend of financial inclusion in the North was when Amban, with everybody, took to Kano State. And we took platforms like OPE and many all of them. I know very well that the OPE penetrated in the Kano during that conference. And it brings the major change to the northern system. I think one of those things that you said, why is it our regulators are not coming to this kind of event? It's becoming disturbing. But maybe it's not that they don't want to come. Because something changed last year when we were doing 10th anniversary. In the last 2 years, we didn't see CBN in our program. Maybe because of our standards associations that we too pressurize some things, which is normal. Because we cannot be the same with the platform operational people. You are being regulated, but as an association, we should speak out. When you are doing fine, we should say it. When we are not doing fine, I think within that we felt that they don't show up. But last year, they sent 2 representatives to Gombe. And the Gombe state government, imagine that as we are doing financial inclusions, it just once, I think Sanev went to Gombe once time, the northeast, in the history. But the armband, we have to go to Gombe. Then I think one of the meetings that I would say is that let's take this conference maybe to Abuja. Maybe we'll be able to gather them. We'll be able to bring them on board, and then we need to have this sincere conversation. That's my message. Thank you and congratulations for 3.0, and we wish everybody the best. Then, on the issues that they said we should discuss, the Dr. Otiobera has his presentation, but I will not be able to just go to this everything
God bless
here.
you, sir.
What I will say is that what is our core areas that we feel like we should do? I think, no doubt, no argument, agent has been the trusted ally of all platforms before customer even accepted it. The Itura is there now. This Abi, you call Itura, my Itura Abi. Now, there's no amount of English or Turanchi you can speak here that can make somebody that is in Bodija market to accept this. But if you get just 10 agents that believes in your product, they sell to the whole of Bodija market. And that is the fun. I'm just saying that there's no arguments, there's no anything whatsoever we want to do. Either that one belongs to one place or did not belong to one place. The fact that the agents are core drivers of the trust. And I think that is conversation that is not going to be argued. But what are we losing? Why are we not using this agent very well? Is it on the cash in, cash out alone? The head is there. How are we using over 2 million agents to drive this? What are we using the 2 million agents, over 2 million agents to drive pensions? What are we using this 2 million agents to drive maybe agricultural scheme or products and services that can bring more inclusions of people at the rural areas? These are the conversations that I will leave with the town hall to take, and then we need to look at that one. Then the other key areas that I also feel, regulators, all of us, I said it. I think it's high time that we need to come into one forum. Our individuals is fine, but united we stand, and coming together, the regulator does not see armband as like we are pressurizing or political pressures. We are also not seeing regulators that they are coming up with too much of a thing. I will say something. We were invited to the office of the National Security Advisor last year. We were there for like 3 times. And they brought some things. That why did they have to do some things? And we'll see that just single transactions, it can destroy this country. I don't believe it. I always hear anti-money laundering or whatever. But when they give us some information that I have one specialist, one professor, very slim like me, and very short. When he shows something for all of us, we kept quiet. Because we are challenging them. That's why is it that you have to say POS must do this one POS. But later we were able to, what I'm trying to say is that all of us need to come as a platform together, where we set a basis and collaboration for us. Why the final one will go to consumers? I think in our resolution here today, consumer is sovereign. We're enjoying the service. I hope Team App has gone, PalmPay has gone, but I know that platform we should have it. One of the resolutions to give is that those money of the customers that they are losing and in the hands of the platform, how can we return it back to them? It's the questions that at the town hall we need to look at, and we need to take a resolution. I will give you just one example. USSD. Please, how many people have used USSD to do transfer here? I know that most of us might not use it because we have app. We are tech-savvy. We can operate, right? But do you know how many people that use USSD code? But you know, you use USSD code, the money will be deducted. The transaction will not be successful, and they are not going to return my money. and count 3, maybe 6 naira, B. Let's assume 6 naira. Let's say 1 million people. 1 million. Do it in a day. It happens, right? Because the informal sectors are the largest ones that are using this. This is not particular to any maybe conventional bank or new bank. I think at this place today, in the forum, maybe our media practitioners that they are here today, if we can take this into the media and ask where banks are keeping this money. When transaction fails, who keeps that money? How do you return? I don't know if you have done that and the money has been reverted. That's 6 naira. Then let's calculate that 6 naira where it's going. The charges, the charges that have to do with customer chargeback. Each platform has where they are keeping this money. Where is the money? What is it meant for? Are we returning it to the customer? I think these are just 3 things. Let's leverage on the agent's success story that we have heard and move on. Let the stakeholders come together to drive our interest, collective interest, and in particular, the national interest. The national interest should be our priority because that is what is going to bring development and prosperity, trust, and trust to all of us. And the last one, let's keep to see where the customer are vulnerable that they could not speak. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for that, sir. This town hall surely is different from Bala Blue. Well done. And I wish we had more time to go on and on. You actually hit the nail on the head. There was a time I was trying to do a transaction 6 times. 6 times. 6 naira. Everybody calculate here. Sokpoti shekini. Otilo. Who collects it? Who should I hold? Should I hold you?
Yeah, we're going to do it. And you lodge your complaint with your consent. And then we'll take it up. No. We'll work with it. The association, we are working on it with a lot of the stakeholders in the industry. One of those things we have learned in the previous is that the association is not meant to be fighting. We should know our boundary when to fight. We should know, but 10 years is not a small thing. If we do not struggle, if we don't, it's not good to. But what I'm trying to say is that even today, as you are here now, if I get your WhatsApp, I will give you a link. You fill it. It's a consent form. Just put your account numbers. We'll gather it. Then we just need more people to participate. Then we'll work with like SANEF. We're not going to do it alone. We'll work with maybe the CBN and consumer protections. We take it to the bank. Let them verify. Then they return your money to you back. I think by the time we start to take some steps as an individuals, we can make the system, the platform, they see reason. That's why they bring technology. It's not perfect. Then we as a customers as well, we need to unite as well. But one person cannot do this one unless we are united. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I know Nigerians will tell you, Shane Tori 6 naira. Let's just allow it to go. Before you know, billions have gone. But we get there someday. All right, can we just take a few words from you, sir? Please, if you don't mind. Please. This is the second town hall. And this is the main Bala Blue.
Good afternoon. Let me say I'm pleased with whatever happened today. But the only way I have to speak out is Amban, Afian, and Fiams, we are of one family. The reason why we need to move into area of Fiams is the reason why we are speaking today. Agents are not being given due recognition. They are not being paid well. Even the banks and fintechs that are making use of us to cut across the nook and crannies of this country, they don't even value us. And for Christians who are here, Philippians 2:12 says, you must work out your salvation with fear and what? Trembling. That's why we move a step ahead, that we cannot continue to wait for government to give us commission. Everything goes up. Fuel has gone up. Transportation has gone up. Yet, the cost of transaction remains the same. How will that agent survive? Even the fintechs, they slightly increase their charges. The banks slightly increase their charges, and they will still tell agents not to charge customers. And to avoid that, the best thing is for the agents who are known as financial inclusion agents, because they are not POS agents. We have pension agents. We have bank agents. We have insurance agents. We have health practitioner agents. As long as it has to do with finance, they are financial inclusion agents. Then multi-purpose corporate society. That's why we come together to go into different industries and make life better for ourselves. When we retire, who is going to pay the agent's pension? When we fall sick, look at this wonderful products, Itura, that I heard. I'm happy that I even came. You understand? Who is going to take care of us? So that's why, as a cooperator, you are taking care of yourself. You can go into agriculture, you can go to transportation, you can go everywhere. So don't die on POS. But without this same set of people, no product can get to the last mile. I'm based in Abuja. From Abuja to Nasarawa, from Karu to Kefi, no single bank. So, when we did our census, and we discovered that out of 774 local governments in Nigeria, more than 50% of that don't even have presence of banks. And yet, every nooks and cranny, you have agents. Please, I want to beg this forum. Let's give due recognitions to financial inclusion agents. And don't only rely on what you are getting from fintech, banks, and whatever. Join multipurpose corporate society so that you can have access to dividends and you can be paid. Even in grave, you continue to be paid. Because as commission, you die, that one goes on. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you for not allowing us to wave that aside. Thank you. And we say shout out to all the agents doing amazing. Everybody in the value chain is as important as another. At this point, I'm going to be inviting to the microphone for the closing remark the co-convener, Payments Forum Nigeria, Mr. Ugo Onwaso. Can we give him a round of applause?
Thank you so much. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me start this closing remark by thanking all of you for making our time from your busy schedules to be here with us today. We don't take your being here for granted. So thank you so much for being here. And to our sponsors, I want to also thank you for your support, because without you, we wouldn't be here. So your support made it possible for us to make this a success. So we say a very big thank you to you all. And my plea to you all is for going forward next year, we will need all your cooperation and collaboration to make next year's a better and bigger event. With that said, I want to wish every one of you a safe journey back to your various destinations. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It's a wonderful time to be here. Pafon 3.0. Hopefully by next year, it will be 4.0. Thank you very much for being an amazing audience. Thank you to all our sponsors. Thank you to the partners. Thank you to the speakers. And thank you for the conveners for having me. Louisa Olani is my name, and it's a pleasure doing this. See you again next year. Bye-bye. Make una clap for me now.